Hello and welcome back to ESA Cup Season 7. I'm Naj and I'm joined today by...
Whiskey glitter, let's go. That's right, baby. It's a best of three here, and we are bringing the heat back at it again. Hey, I'm happy to be casting beside you.
Well, we got a lovely little best of three today. We got one of those matchups that is quite highly anticipated when it comes down to the ESA Cup itself. We have, if we want to go to the team cards, we have first AGM on one side. They have Oregon and Clubhouse as their best and worst maps, and their player are all their players, not their player. They're not going to be just joining the server with one guy, but their players are Ollie, Quake, Suthers, Lalon, Vapex, Spencer, Zorak, Zorza, and Sacred.
Boy, that's tough. Oregon to be your best map, but Clubhouse to be your worst. Well,
Yeah,
everybody goes to Clubhouse. That's a tough one to have as your absolute worst map.
I mean definitely. But on the opposite side, we have. If you want to take us away.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Cosmic
Okay.
Gaming, right? And it's going to be kind of similar. It's going to be a little bit different, though, on the maps bands. We're looking at Clubhouse as the best map, Skyscraper as the worst. And we can see Skyscraper, if you don't have a good defense on it, obviously it's going to be a tough map to pull. And so that's going to be probably one of their perma bans. On the players, let me get a little bit closer here. We'll be looking at Strobo. Man, I don't know if I can get through any of these. Can you help me out a little bit? I got Always No Mercy.
So we got Reclay, Shimizu, Zoro, Strobo, Yannick. We also have Daniel, Klezery, Always, and Kesko. And something I'd really like to sort of alert to right here is the fact that there's a 1% difference between the two teams' win rates. 63% for the opposite side of AGM, whereas Cosmo have 64. And the best maps for both teams, yes, the worst map, Clubhouse, for AGM, unfortunate. The best map for both teams, though, bit of a spoiler alert, are both in the best of three in somewhere. But first, we'll quickly have a look at the votes before we go to. So we'll have a look at the production vote first, if that's okay with our production. And well, at the moment we do see 3 and 3 on this side for Bozmax, Pasta, Voigt, Freddie G, Pooball, and one more that I missed before it switched over. But then we've got me, Stucky, Ogon, and Rowan. Stucky and Rowan, silly bozos didn't vote, but we got one of each on that side as well. So 4 of each. Ohop is the person I missed. But 4 of each, that's a complete 50-50 split for the production team. But we'll go over to the social vote first. And, well, it's very in favor of Cosmo.
Yeah, but and again, there's that 64% making its appearance. You know what it seems like with the best and the worst map picks going on, and the production picks. I think that this has potential to have that overtime, that third map decider. Are we going to see a classic battle of attrition or war of attrition here, or you think this might be a little one sided?
I think Cosmo definitely have the star power when it comes down to how the team performs as a whole. But realistically, I think AGM have the better consistency. So I think it's a matter of whether we do see that star power from Cosmo today and really see them like start to try and force the issue rather than just sit around and kind of get caught by the consistency of AGM. But we'll have a quick look at the map bands and we'll reveal where those maps are going to be situated.
Okay, so right out the gate, Border and Skyscraper gone. You saw Skyscraper is one of the team's worst maps, so obvious to see it get booted out the gate pretty quickly. Chalet and Cafe off next. Chalet, kind of an interesting pick, one of the equalizers that you see everybody go to. Cafe, obviously, we don't see Cafe like a huge number of times. It's got to be have a pretty deep map pool to start getting into that Cafe, but it is going to be Clubhouse and Consulate, followed up should it prove to be necessary. Oregon, well, I'm here for some Consulate play.
I mean, definitely Consulate. I'm so happy we've got Consulate because it's like Consulate and Nighthaven are two of those maps that, from what I've seen, in like the pro scene and things like that, they have very, very, very distinct sort of intricate strategies, and like the double vertical pressure that you can play with Buck, things like that. They're two maps that very much incorporate that. And I just think that we could be seeing so much more of those maps if the teams just built up their confidence. And I mean, well, a piece of advice that I always gave to players within these leagues is if you get your team as comfortable as possible on a new map and then just try and force it every time, um, it's going to take so long for people to get used to how you play that map, and how you guys have, or well, your guys' strategies, especially if you create more than one. Um, like, well, uh, a certain team I know of has, and yeah, you can just kind of force it, and it does so well, and can work so well for just these players and teams. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of like the G2 play from the Atlanta Major. Because something a lot of teams have kind of incorporated is just like picking sort of around what these players have been playing at the Atlanta Major, because well, that was the first big stage that Consulate was shown off on.
Mm-hmm.
And you had teams like G2, W7M, who, well, W7M, I mean, the major's way over now, but W7M ended up becoming the winners of the major. And it's like, it really favors that aggressive style. And you can tell it really favors that aggressive style because the Brazilians played it not only a lot, um, but it was also like 2 European teams and 6 Brazilian teams in the quarterfinals. Um, so you can probably imagine that because they did play it a lot, because they were able to play that cafe, that villa, the consulate, because they were able to play those 3 very aggressive favored maps. They were able to just push so much further forward, and really none of the other regions were amazingly ready for it. And G2 was one of the maps that forced it into consulate, alongside BDS, who was the other European teams in the quarterfinals, were very keen on forcing cafe. So
Yeah,
you've got kind of both of those sort of sides there.
yeah. I think you're right. And if you've got something like Consulate and Nighthaven deep on your map pool, you can't ban them both, right? You're gonna get one of them. And if you've got that deeper map pool, yeah, more to you. Yeah, unfortunate for the major NA completely missing. And they didn't utilize those strats as well, right? We didn't see very much Nighthaven or Consulate play. And when we got took there, well, I mean, unfortunate. Here's what I love though. Consulate and Nighthaven, you're right. That double vertical nature allows for full map extensions. I mean, if you're in the basement and you're holding all the way up at 2F, you're really setting the pace and dictating how that round's going to go, outside of, potentially a quick one-off, quick execute, to catch a defense slipping and off guard. But for the most part, you're going to force those attackers to really have to clear every single floor, every single room, because the flank potential on these two maps specifically is huge. Yeah, I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. Well, don't want to talk about NA for too long because I think the game's going to be starting very, very shortly.
All right, yeah.
But either way, I just want to touch on the fact that for the first time in a very long time, NA have got a super team again. And well, I'm very excited to see that super team in Pro League. So
you ain't lying.
obviously, back on topic, we're going to be talking about the ESA Cup Season 7. Let's quickly have a look at the Swiss system, because we do have the games that are going to be coming up in the next couple of days showing on here as well. I'm not amazingly well versed on when each match is going to be played, but these seem to be in a little bit of a wrong order at the moment on the 2-2, as it's, well, AGM versus Cosmo today. But either way, I'll quickly load up the page. So today, obviously, we've got Cosmo versus AGM. Tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow, 2 days from now, Wednesday, we have Minions versus Mafia Squad. And then Thursday, we have Ecclesia versus Wii Sports, which is a game I'm particularly excited for because both of these teams have showed so much promise. EOS were looking to be one of the stronger teams in the earlier portion of the league. Got absolutely annihilated. Oh no, Aspire, sorry. Is it Aspire? I don't remember. I can't quite see the logos from here. But either way, I think it's Aspire. Got absolutely annihilated. They showed so much promise. They got absolutely annihilated by Ecclesia. Obviously, it did go to 3 maps. But then you had Zack Gaming, who are another really formidable team within the Cup. That just got absolutely stamped by Ecclesia as well. So seeing Ecclesia come up against a team like Wii Sports, in the sort of later portion of this tournament, especially in a best of 3, I think we're going to be seeing blood, sweat, and tears on Thursday. But that is for, well, another day.
Yeah,
today though.
Thursday to be specific.
Yeah, Thursday to be specific. It was moved. For anyone that's curious, it was supposed to be tomorrow, but it was removed so we didn't have to deal with any forfeits or anything like that. Because we did want the teams to play the game, and well, we didn't want the forfeits to sort of dictate how they were actually gonna like perform. But 2 teams I'm very excited to see. Obviously, after these best of 3s are all over and done with, we have Crimus, and then we have more sort of ESA Cup coming your way. But as I was going to say, one sort of set of teams that I'm very excited to see go further into this tournament is the team formerly known as Votum, now known as NIP, going into the playoffs because, well, they're 3-0 alongside MDF inside of the Swiss stage. So they've hidden as many strats as possible. Not only did they hide as many strats as possible, they're 3-0 after going, 7-2 in their 1-0 game. They went 7-3 in their 2-0 game, and they went 7-3 in their 0-0 game. So they've literally done the bare minimum to make sure they can get to the top. And because of how hard they've tried and the amount of effort they've put in order to put themselves in that position, I'm really excited to see how they actually perform inside of the knockout system. But we only have a couple of those confirmed right now. I think we can probably just like show those on stream as like a little sneak peek, depending on whether that's possible. But we'll have to wait and see. We do have. Oh, here we go. Flawless 7 recently picked up as the new Votum team. So they're now under the branding of Votum. Are going to be against E-Wave, and then we have the old Votum team, now known as NIP, waiting for their opponent, LDL waiting for their opponent, and MDF also waiting for their opponent. Now, one thing I'm excited to see is we have a potential for an MDF Votum or an MDF NIP finals.
Ooh, a little bit of a storyline there, a potential brotherly rivalry. I'd be excited for that. Now, here's one of my favorite things. Every time I cast with you, right, you bring this great insight to the game, and I've been wanting to hear what are your thoughts on the new operator and how it's going to be affecting the play style going forward. Are we going to be start to see this defensive meta that's going on, or do you think it's going to be business as usual? I gotta know. What are you thinking?
You've asked me a very, very distinct question. Right. I have a lot of opinions on the new operator.
I knew that was going to be the case.
So, Mr. Tubby himself, Tubero, however you want to say it, either way, he's got those auto canisters, right? Now, Zoto canisters affect the wall. Now, something a lot of people can consider is yes, they affect the wall, but they also affect the gadgetry that they're touching. So, for example, Bandit would be heavily hindered by the Zoto canisters because the freezing would stop the Bandit from working, and if the charge is close enough to going off on the wall, it can still explode. Because the Bandit charges don't come back on straight away. But something that is actually really broken with the new operator is K claws can be placed outside of the radius if you throw the Zoto canister in the same in the right place. So Cade can electrify a frozen wall, and that's where he gets broken. Because the wall or the hatch or whatever doesn't count as being electrified while it's frozen, but the moment it unfreezes, it immediately electrifies because the K claw is still active. And that's where the new operator can be very, very powerful.
Okay,
Another way.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, carry on. No, you carry on. You carry on.
I was gonna say, so follow-up question to that. So we see the maybe the potential fall of Bandit, right, with the rise of Tuba, and maybe the rise again of Cade and that potential sniper shotty. Now, does this open up, right? If we're able to successfully hold off the wall for 2 minutes, I don't know how long can you hold it off with the Zotos and Cade tricking, but if you're able to hold it off so long and force these attackers to find other areas and other avenues to get in, do we potentially see the rise of operators like Caviera for alternative attack stopping?
See, I haven't thought that closely, but it definitely could. We could see some like rat corner plays, things like that, like things just to catch people off guard. But I think the thing that we're going to be more sort of focused on right now is just until people start trying to do those sort of gimmicky strats to maybe catch people off guard and see if they can try and bring something to the table that way. I think what we're going to see for the time being, more of a 20-second meta for both console and PC. I think when it comes down to both platforms, Tubrau has, ironically enough, slowed down everything. He's an operator that can deny these walls and hatches so effectively. And even if you don't have a Cade on side, and let's say you're playing like Clubhouse Basement, you can deny the kitchen hatch for like I think it's somewhere along the lines of like 40 seconds to a minute, 20 seconds, something like that. You can deny it for that long with just his 4 canisters alone. So that's where he becomes a little scary. Because as I said, he can deny it for ages. So you're gonna have to go somewhere else, which means the attackers either have a couple choices. They can either commit to the style that they normally are used to, which is the droning out of the top floor, getting onto the mid floor at like a minute 40, minute 30, and then just like pressuring these hatches until eventually they get opened. And then you just commit. Or you rotate, go for church wall, try and sort of like bait out more of these Zoto canisters. And if you can't, then you open up the church wall, you play the church wall, you play the motor drop, you try and get church plant, that sort of thing. Especially on Clubhouse. That's specific to Clubhouse. But one of the fun things I've seen used for Zoto that for Tubrau that a lot of people aren't quite aware of is, well, the footsteps you can see on the floor when someone's frozen, you can see through surfaces. So if you're below and you throw a Zoto canister straight up and you freeze an operator above, you're going to see their footprints. You're going to see their footsteps through the floor. So you can play like, you can just straight up shoot them through the floor. You can throw a C4, an impact, whatever, and just get a free kill. So that's also a lot of fun. And one of those things that we can sort of incorporate to the play style.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait. I think the combo moves for the operators are going to be fun. I think you're right. You're probably going to see more of the 20-second meta, which is going to make for some very exciting rounds. And I honestly, it's got some very fun implications for the major.
I mean, yeah, definitely. When it comes down to like the actual majors themselves. I haven't really seen a lot of incorporation from Tuberal inside of the pro leagues and stuff yet, but then again, we haven't really seen much from these pro teams. Obviously, we have South Breach coming up, and then a couple others that are going to be like pretty big scale tournaments that are going to really help for this sort of thing. But here we are. We're going to be going into the game.
Let's go. We did it, baby. It's Clubhouse. It's a best of 3 banger. And we're going to be bringing you all the action. I hope, based off the bands, I hope that we get to see some of that exciting gameplay, kind of switching up. Obviously, some of the standards being brought out here, the Solus and the Fenrir. You can see them banned out just about regular. Hatch Queen off the board as well. But here's an interesting one. It's going to be the Ram. Is that a target or is that just a good ban?
I think the Hibana is like relatively standard, but the Ram particularly, I think is more for that sort of kitchen corridor. So with Buck, you can open the kitchen corridor, but it's a little harder to cover. When it comes down to Ram has the perfect radius on her bookie drone to shred the entire corridor. So as long as she places it in the middle and it goes straight, you just shred the entire ceiling above the corridor, and it becomes a huge problem for rotating defenders. So I think that's a relatively good ban. Solus alongside Fenrir more so for console, Azami more so for PC are, well, defensive wise, the 2 most powerful operators in the game. So it's like when it comes down to, the 2 highest potential operators for power in the game. And when it comes down to the Azami pick and the Fenrir ban in this game, it's a lot more sort of straightforward and understandable, because Azami is a lot easier to deal with and a lot more difficult to play when you're playing with the mechanics of a controller, and Fenrir is a lot easier to play and a lot more difficult to deal with when you're playing with the mechanics of a controller. So you get left in this position of like, well, one of them's going to be better on PC, one of them's going to be better on console, and at the end of the day, they're 2 of the most powerful operators in the game.
I never even thought about that. What an interesting insight. Having to base your characters based off what platform you're on. Makes sense, though. Not going to see Tuba on the first set, on the first round here, as we do head up to that CCTV hold. A couple of standards. Mozzie for that intel, that projectile deny of Wamai. But the fun pick, you see Azami banned off the board, especially for CCTV, a lot. The Architect can be... Oh, no way. Jeez.
Well, that's the ace down, as now he's just going to be rotating himself back through split just to keep himself safe. Or through strip, sorry. We are seeing a little bit of a conglomeration from these attackers just on the roof right now, or congregation is a better word, as they are just trying to get themselves safe and ready to take this even further. We do have this defender just positioned around inside the construction at the moment with a bit of cover from the backside. Almost finds a kill onto the repelling Ash on the far back long angle, but unable to find it yet. Thermite on the opposite side.
Oh, man, so do they get construction open and they get the main wall open? It is going to be Ash the next to fall, as Frost's going to find the body that drops it. It's going to be the can opener to open up Hot Tub as well. So they have got all of these angles. Ooh, bit of a contest there. Just able to stay out of range of those bullets. It is going to be Mozzie to find the first death for the defensive side of it. To go pick up the diffuser and get ready to potentially try to get an execute going. It's tough with the body bounce. Oh, no, not another one. Ouch.
Yeah. It's not a great one, but instead we're going to be seeing a bit of action on towards the bedroom side, and, well, there's not really a grand amount going on right now, but we do find a kill from Strobo onto the opposite side. Diffuser's been dropped for the attackers. Well, Vapex on a double kill, and now the man that jumps in through the window gets caught out, and, well, Vapex finds 3 for his troubles, and that's going to be the round over very, very quickly, as it slowed down so exponentially.
But yeah, found ourselves in a hurry up and wait pattern as defense started to do a great job with that early pick, finding the ace off the board, kind of limiting some of that that split up push that they were trying to bring to the table. Still had the can openers to open up those angles, but in the end, that first kill was ultimately led to the demise of the attack team. Defense takes one.
Oh, very well played from the defensive side. Obviously, they went to CC. CC, a site that isn't great, to put it in like the kindest terms. It's a site that can work. The problem with CC that I bring up all too often is the fact that it has been played so many times that it is borderline not worth playing. It's not that you can't play it. It's that it's not worth playing because the risk factor of losing on that site is so much more than if you were to play literally any other site on the map.
Yeah, interesting to see the CCTV call. And to quote you verbatim, I think the last time we cast together, you said CCTV. The funny thing about CCTV, it is the only map that has a completely unplayable site. And yes, you can win it. You're right. You can win it, but you're right. The easy win is Cash. The easy win is Church. And then follow it up for the tertiary site taking it to CCTV, the one that's kind of a question. But they did find one, so I like it. Head to gym bedroom for the next one, and a bit of a standard setup that I like for Cash. It's going to be the castle to help facilitate that extension and support the Mira, who's going to be playing on that, basically the second layer of Breach Denial.
Yeah, I think when they see this castle on side, they should probably try and get players over on towards that highway a little quicker than they have been doing so far, because, well, if you're able to shut off the rotation from the defenders that are going to be coming over from the Cash side, then you are going to be putting yourself at an advantage. But they are just opening this jacuzzi wall right now, giving themselves that little bit of extra traction when it comes down to making their way through and into the site. Well, EMP nade goes through, is able to deal with the mute jammer by the looks of things, but doesn't really do a grand amount as, well, nobody suffers on the far end of it. A kill is found by Ace, though, onto mute, and, well, it leaves us in an equal situation, but he finds one more. Mirror falls inside of the corridor, and, well, we're going to be seeing a little more from him.
Ooh, man, body bounce tipped heavily in favor of the attacking team now as they respond dramatically to the gym bedroom setup, and is now all on the shoulders of Vapex, who finds himself a bit on the back foot as he's got to try a little bit of a retake scenario. Shots fired into Jim, not going to find anything. It's going to be the rotate, but the crossfire is set up. That's going to be Vapex with his dome piece missing. It's at one apiece now.
Well,
back and forth.
it is a little bit, but as we see, a 1-1 on Clubhouse, one of those maps that was so powerful for, if I remember correctly, the side of Cosmo. If I remember correctly, Cosmo was the team that had such high statistics on this map. They were coming in with it as their best, and then on the opposite side, I'm pretty sure it was AGM that had it as their worst. But it's also the complete flip side when we get, well, if and when we get to that third map, because that third map is, well, heavily in favor of AGM. It could be the other way around, but I'm committing to the sides that I've chosen. But I'm pretty sure that Oregon, the third map of our best of 3 today, is that sort of best map for the opposite side. And, well, you spoke it into existence, I guess, because we're going to be seeing Caviera on the top floor.
Oh, nothing makes me happier than seeing a Cav coming onto the field. It means we're going to see some aggression. It means we're going to see some kind of trickery. And with this crazy quick entrance that we've got from Ash just pushing in, taking all of this real estate so fast, I think the potential to not suss out that this Cav is up there could be really huge for the defense. Well, I can't even believe that, Naj. That's so funny.
The worst part is I'm pretty sure it might have been a different team, but I'm fairly sure that we saw the exact same thing from the exact same player in their previous match. Which is something that I imagine could be something they've thought about, which is why they've decided to take so quick. They've gone through into bar. They've made sure that they've avoided that avenue of attack on the top floor because they know no one plays over there, and instead used the gridlock, sorry, to just keep themselves a little safe from those main stairs.
Yeah, agreed. And I love the gridlock play here, right? She didn't see a ton of usage, at least in the NA side of it, for a long time. Aruna going to be the first to go down. Body shot's going to ring out and take them. Body bounce tipped in favor of the attackers. But until she got the nades, but once she did, of course, it changed her pick rate, made her a more viable option. And then teams started to realize, how much she has devoted to that flank potential. And in the case of Cav, I think it's a really good play, bring the gridlock out.
I mean, yeah, definitely so. We do see Caviera just inside of that stock room right now, about to get into engagement with one of those players, but Ash is the one to win. The Shimizu is going to be making their way further forward, getting ready, but this C4 in hand could be the big difference maker, as we did see 3 players just huddling up at the top of that hatch, getting ready to take on the drop, but one of them just runs away, and, well, they're not ready to try and face this C4 just yet. The music is, however, what they face as well. Ace is the first man to drop, and speaking of face, he's about to have a face-to-face engagement against this man inside of blue, but decides to hold the opposite side. The laser gate does get reactivated as well. Now we're going to be seeing Sacred inside of blue, ready to take the engagement, and Suther inside of dirt, getting a beautiful little kill for himself and his troubles.
Oh my lord, the trade's ringing out. Shotgun just reigning supreme here in this back and forth. 8 seconds left, getting the plant down. It's a 2v1. They hear it. They know it's going down. It's going to be the double charge, and Grim finds one. Down to a 1v1. He's got to get it down. Not going to be able to do it in time. That's going to be another one for the defenses. They did a great job stalling it out. And you said it, in the realm of close quarter combat, the shotgun reigns absolutely supreme. See the shotgun take, I think, 2 or potentially 3 on that last round. Church Arsenal, easy hold here. Going to see him take it back up to Jim to try that again as the round rotate. The first set of round rotates is over.
Give me 1 second, sorry.
Sure. And it's not actually going to be Jim Bedroom. They're going to take it back to Cash and CCTV. Going to try to make us eat our words twice in a row. And they're bringing the same exact setup that they brought last time. Mozzie for that intel. We might have stopped that projectiles from coming in. And here's the fun part, right? The Asami or Azame, depending on where you hail from. The Architect being brought out. And one could say, when she's on the board, essential for that catwalk hold, that extension into garage, which, could have some very fun ramifications should we see Tuba or Tuba come onto the board, kind of supporting that long distance play.
I've heard many different names for the new operator so far. I've heard Tuba, Tubo, Tubby, Tuberal. There's so many different names. Everybody has just created their own little alias for him, and I actually find it really entertaining. But
yeah.
We do have a game on our hands here. We've got 2-1 on the board in favor of these defenders, and they are going to be going back to that Cash CC site. Now, the thing I don't like about repeating on this map and on this site in particular is the fact that because this site isn't worth playing as a whole, because of the amount of strategies, how used people are to pushing it, it usually means that your strategy to going back to it as a defender is the same. And if you're trying to use the same strategy against the same team on a site that everyone is so used to taking advantage of, it becomes a bit of an issue, because they're gonna start just taking advantage of your sort of flaws as a defender. And that's what I'm worried about for this defensive side at the moment. And speaking of the devil, we see the The Azami on the rafters is the first one to fall. Mute tries to take a swing onto the breach, but isn't able to find the man that is on the upside down rappel. He sees the shield, and, well, rafters is full clear, so they're going to have a bit of an angle onto it in a few seconds. The man moves forward, Zoro on towards the rafters door, just to get a bit of pressure on that side of the map. The Cash player falls, the red player spotted, as now we know where both of these defenders are going to be. The Mozzie inside the lounge, no C4 in hand, able to deny this plant. And the Wamai going to be positioned inside of Cash. A beautiful trade! Both of them hitting lovely shots right there. A Sacred cleans up the final player. And weirdly enough, we see the defenders actually come out with another win.
Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted it that way, to be honest with you, and especially to see it happen twice in a row. And as the first two defenders got taken off the board, I thought it was all but sealed up for this defensive team. But instead, beating the odds, defying expectations, they find themselves up 2 in the scoreline now as we sit in a 3-1 heading to Gym Bedroom, which arguably should be one of the best sites, which they lost. Right. So you're right. It is the game of adaptability, right? It is how are you going to adapt to how this team's playing? And if I find it a little troubling, if maybe on the second time of seeing CCTV that you're not able to put up more of a valiant attempt on the attacking side of it, that does not exactly bode well.
I mean, yeah, definitely doesn't as well. We are going to be going back to this Gym Bedroom, and this is the site that they had a bit of trouble with. And I really think that when it comes down to this site, they probably could be a little bit more prepared to just fall off of that sort of extension towards the sort of eastern side a little sooner when they start losing players. Obviously, yeah, it's a Warden over there, and Wardens don't usually tend to do much else than sit and try and find kills. But this is a team we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Warden, I think, with his recent buff, kind of making him a little more along the lines of what Ubisoft thought that he would be used for. Give him that armor, give him the chance to potentially just kind of sit in sight and defend against that smoke, against those flashes, against that late round push. But yeah, looking really good for the defense team. They do head back to that Gym Bedroom setup. They do bring the castle and the mirror back out, and I do like it. You talked about kind of peeling back like the layers of the defense, and if they are able to get back to sight, that's a talent shield. That ain't gonna work. If they're able to get back to sight and really just focus on slowing down, Vapex with a little bit of the done dirty takes Osa off the board with the impact and a follow-up shot. Body balance heavily in favor of the defense now as they find a second onto Ash as well. But yeah, if they're able to get back to sight, I think those layers of defense that they have set up, this operator lineup, it's a good one. It can definitely work on Gym Bedroom. Time management being the key here.
Yeah, the hold falters a little bit as we're going to be seeing Warden fall inside of Cash as well. And well, losing that player on the eastern side isn't really a massive detriment to the hold itself, but you are now down a gun, and you're also down one of your main fraggers. You do still have your supports on the board, and Vapex, the man of the hour right now, is also going to be alive. Hanging around in bathroom, not really taking any gunfights as of this moment, but we do see a player getting pretty aggressive on towards him on that side, which is Zoro, the ace. And, well, he loses his life to Mirror inside of the corridor. The gridlock going to be on the window as they punch the Mirror inside of construction. We're going to be seeing a bit of a scuffle between the two players that are there, and one more is spotted but not found as, well, Claymore goes off, Zoro goes down, Zoro, Vape goes down, as we're going to be seeing Strobo in the 1v2. It is a lot safer than the 1v3 he was previously in, but we'll have to see how he performs.
Yeah, if he's able to clutch this up, he's going to thank God for that Claymore that was put out there for sure. Gridlock, a great operator to try and make this clutch happen, still has all 4 of her tracks in the pocket, no utility spent. And with 15 seconds, this is looking like a little bit of a desperate situation. And there it is. It's the Vector. It rings out. Death it brings. It's a headshot to end it. And the defense looking real good. Now, we still do call this map, I believe, right? I'm not sure what the specific ESA statistic is, but I would say we'd still classify this as a defensive-sided map. Right, especially with the prevalence of Gym Bedroom and Church Arsenal. So 4-1 on the split, not wholly unexpected. If the attack team can come up with a second win here, kind of along that standard score line, heading into their defensive half, and not really the blowout that kind of seems to be in progress right now. The defense is actually looking really good.
Well, realistically, with the defender-sided nature just of Siege in general, a 4-2 split should really be the default, unless you have a particularly attacker-sided map, and it's one of those where yes, we've made it to that 4-2 mark for the defensive side, but they're going to be hungry for more. They are going to a site that they have proven to be weaker on, in the sort of grand scheme of things, but they still won their last attempt. So we're going to be seeing the defenders go back to it, want to try and give it another go, and obviously we don't see the Caviera on side this time, so they're not going to be going for that sort of gimmicky strat, but they are going to be going for a pretty heavy rope. They do have that Mute, they do have the Mozzie, they do have that Thorn and Lesion, a very aggressive lineup. So I think that we're probably going to be seeing quite a bit of like swinging gunfight potential from this team as a whole. We see Thorn over towards the cash side, maybe in CC, not quite sure, and well, Lesion may have just dropped off, but was over towards main. So we could be seeing a lot of early deaths here.
Yeah. And there it is. Lesion taking a bunch of damage already, but he's able to WASD his way out of there, live to fight another day. And I love this too, right? What does this do when we put defenders all the way at the top of the map? It forces the attacking team to deal with them. And already that's a minute off the board. Normally designated to using that drone and sussing out where the defenders are. Instead, they're having to clear room by room and still have Thorn up top of being an absolute menace. And has to be dealt with before they can even attempt to start to look down towards sight. And with the first one being off the board, the Grim, your intel, Gonzo Garbanzo, boy, this is looking a little bit tougher. Yeah, she's ready.
She knows that guy's in lounge. She was just shooting through the floor if no one ever really noticed it just there. But Larry on 1 HP comes back up the stairs to re-swing on towards the gridlock of Strobo. It takes that kill, and yes, they've cut off the rotation for this Thorn, but Mozzie's now back in bar, and he's ready to try and take off any heads that come in his direction. Ace knows there's a player, can hear him nearby, but as the Mozzie looks away, the Ace takes the swing and finds the kill for himself. Thorn has also fallen in the meanwhile, and, well, we're going to be seeing a 3v3 situation where it could have been very much and very well a 5v3.
Yeah, definitely. It was oh, there we go. A little bit of shenanigans with the Thorn, and now they, of course, know that they're down in sight. Yeah, 3v3, but here's what the defense did really well. Here's what the defense did really well. It's 46 seconds left on the board, so now forcing more of what you were just talking about. We're getting into that 20-second meta. Lesion the next to fall, putting us into a 3v2. 37 seconds left on the board, still looking towards that verticality, and they've got this main locked down. Oh my lord, free kill. Oh, he's on his drone. Oh no,
he's on his cam.
Swing the corner. K. Oh, still finds a kill.
He has the diffuser, I think. He's managed to kill the attacker that was coming down those stairs with the diffuser, and, well, you see the Buck just so tentative to take the gunfight. The man inside of Moto could be a very big threat to the Cade as he takes the swing, isn't able to find it. The attackers managed to secure themselves a second round on the board.
All right, so 4-2 hit that standard score line, the standard split. Now it's the op swap as we're going to see who's bringing what to the table now. I'm excited to see if we're going to see that same sort of kind of full map extensions, that aggression that was seen on the previous defense here. So we'll see by the ops and where we're headed first. It's going to be downtown Church and Arsenal for the first site.
I was really hoping for a tuber out there.
Me too.
No one's doing anything. No one's doing it. No one's doing it at all.
Not quite ready for it just yet. Got to find a way they adapt into the strat.
I find it very interesting that the two top fraggers for the side of Cosma are going to be picking up the Cade and Aruni. And if Cade is running the weapon I think he's running, which is a very common weapon to be run, especially on console, because, well, DMRs are much more controllable and much more powerful on console. He is running the TCSG. And it seems a little weird to me to put both of your, and obviously there's a level of comfortability there for a lot of players, but it seems a little weird to me that you put the two top fraggers, yes, it's probably their role, but on your supports, when realistically everybody should know how to play each other's role. Like, you're not inexperienced players, you're not an inexperienced team, and as a whole, you should be able to pick and switch what you're sort of playing. And when you have someone having a really good day, like someone like Shimizu, like Reclay, like Zoro, obviously Zoro could probably stay on this Jaeger, but you could have swapped like Strobo onto the Aruni or the Cade or whatever to just play that Cade trick, because obviously he seems to be struggling a little more than the other players right now. Same with Klezery, but it doesn't mean that they're bad or they're worse. It just means that they're not having a particularly great game, or they've got relatively unlucky, because that's usually what it comes down to.
Yeah. At this caliber of gameplay, any player can pop off, and some days you're the bug, and some days you're the window. A little bit of shenanigans. The teabag rings out and takes Jaeger off the board. Vapik's going to find that first kill. And they just got all of that real estate just for free. Going to be a little bit of potential Cade tricking going on here, and I love to see that adaptation. And I think you're right? If you're having an exceptional game, probably one of the first things that we should do is put them on a role that's going to get them a little bit more aggressive, get them to see some of those game-changing moments. I do love that little peek hole there. That's pretty devastating.
That is beautiful right there. That's a similar one to what I've seen on a few maps, where you can make like little punch holes in bars that are like so stupid to try and deal with. One that isn't in the competitive pool but people can use in ranked is there is a certain bar on the primary site on Emerald Plains that looks over towards the museum, and if you make a punch hole in that, you have like a pretty awful one-way angle.
I love it. Write it down. Rank strats coming out live from Naj. I love it. Ooh, Vapix on the triple. Now puts us into a 5v1. Bit of a desperate situation here for the defense as Warden finds himself in a bit of a pickle. Gunfire ringing out from all directions. Does have some relative safety, but turns his back, and it's a flawless round for the attack team.
And I think this is where it gets a little weird. You've kind of hindered your most comfortable players, which are, well, your two top fraggers, by putting them on single fire weapons. And the problem I have with that is you've got players like Klezery, you've got players like Strobo, who have the mechanical skill to be able to take these gunfights and win them. But obviously, because they're struggling a little bit, just on the little offhand of like, oh, mistiming, miscommunication, whatever, right? There's always something that is a problem, and some days it's just not your day. But when it comes down to the way this team's playing right now, I really think that these players that should be getting aggressive are being massively hindered by the fact that, well, one of them's on TCSG, the other one's on the EBR, and then you've got the MP5K and the MPX, well, no longer the MPX, but the MP5K in the hands of a man that's going 2-6. You have obviously Warden on the smoke shotgun right now. Nobody really knows the amount of words and letters that go into that thing, but either way, I mean, I'm main smoke and I still couldn't tell you. But yeah, we see a bit more of a shotgun presence coming out of him right now, so more than likely going to be playing over towards that shield on main stairs in order to just deny out a couple of these sort of aggressive players that are just trying to take swings and picks on towards that side of the site. But yeah, I really think that there should be some switched ups.
Speaking of those aggressive players you were just talking about, Vapix yet again, Ash just pushing in and claiming all of this real estate. Just no dedication to the top floor here. Nothing to slow down this team who was already aggressive on their defense. So I mean, you know, you hate to keep saying it, but there isn't very much adaptation by this defense to try to slow them down. You can't keep running the same strat. It's just not going to work, especially if it hasn't worked before. I like the changeup where they do get the Goyo out, right? A little bit of area denial, and bringing out that vector, which, of course, in the hands of the right person is absolutely devastating. But outside of that, no major changes, thinking that even one away from a match point, that they're going to be able to run it back. I hope that's the case because, of course, want to see it go the distance.
I mean, indeed we do. And at the moment, going the distance doesn't really seem like an optimal strategy. Doesn't seem like something that's going to be coming out of these teams right now, as we are at a 5-2 sort of area. And, well, this defensive side really needs to step up their game. Obviously, we've got these two players that are really just showing everything that they have and doing everything that they can in order to try and secure themselves a win here. But this Thermite could be the difference maker for the opposite side, and well, Allison finds that kill, which is going to be one of the entry fraggers, or not entry fraggers, one of the top fraggers, and gives his team a little bit of leniency towards the remainder of the round.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, right? He could have taken that engagement on a better weapon with a little bit more consistency, but he's going to be taken off the board. Now puts body bounce in favor of the attacking team, as all this real estate now translating into more real estate into the first floor as well. It is going to be the DMR to find K-Souther off the board, but he's already done his job, and there's a second to find the IQ as well. And now body bounce tips in favor of the defense, and it feels a little bit better. Have a little bit more breathing room. There's only 19 seconds left. Wamai to take a bunch of damage, but survives to take another shot. Going to swing, and he is going to lose his life. And Vapex doing what Vapex does, getting active, finding another kill down into sight, and that's going to be the DMR. And oh my lord, the trade's just ringing out. Holy cow!
Oh my goodness!
To somehow pull that out and find a round.
It was just coming out all over the place, but I was gonna say, obviously before everything went down when you were taking it away there, but I was gonna say I'm pretty sure also the Cade also died with a Cade claw in pocket.
Oh.
Which is another thing that's a little like worrisome. It's one of those things where they definitely could and should be in the right position in order to be able to take on these opposing sides, to really make sure that like they're able to use their utility and also their gun skill and mechanical skill, whatever, in order to be able to take some of these engagements. And at the moment, we're just seeing like the people that shouldn't suffer, and the people that should sort of have that sort of sit back, easy life, go through that suffrage instead of the entries, and that's where we're seeing a little bit of a switch up right now. And well, Reclay obviously sort of favoring those shotguns is going to be picking up on the mute, and Shimizu, the player that's 11-5 right now, is going to be picking up on that Mozzie.
Oh, see, there you go. There's that adaptation you were talking about. Put your top frag on a gun that's going to get it done. And the P10, well, I tell you what, it's a quick one, and it'll put the work in towards finding yourself some more kills. And you know what? That's rule number 17. Don't die with utility in your pocket, right? And that is not the first time that we saw that this match, even as we saw the gridlock on the previous attack rounds on the same.
Need me a copy of this rule book.
Yeah. Rule number 1, you run, you die. Rule number 17, don't die with util in your pocket.
I need me a copy of this book. I'm telling you. I'm gonna be reading this rule book to like everybody on Eagle Empire for like weeks.
Oh, let's go.
Either way, we do see this player of Klezri on towards the cash side. Has got the wall open, holding on to the pixel angle just to see if he can find anything for his troubles here, but isn't able to as of this very moment. Tries to take the sprint out into construction, but Suther, the Flores himself, going to be holding on to that angle. And, I mean, you've got 4 players over here, and then one poor Vapex just sitting alone on the highway, but he's now joined by a buddy of Suther. Going to be joined by the Flores and seeing if they can clear out any utility before they actually try and make themselves a bit more sort of known on these windows. And well, with the castle barricade falling and Vapex getting himself an angle or two, he is going to be able to take a swing. But speaking of take a swing, it's a miss as he catches a bullet to the forehead. Reclaim, beautiful little angle from him as he's going to be trying to look for one more. We're going to be seeing Vapex get a little aggressive, maybe a little bit too close for his own comfort on that angle, but Zorro nearly gets caught out by the highway player as we are going to be seeing them make their way through and into sight.
And bit of siege timing all over the place here. Just misses out on the kill. Oh, what? Oh, jeez.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, but it does end up finding the kill. Now into a 3v1, all resting on the shoulders of Mute, who's going to get taken out quite immediately. That's going to be another one in favor of the attacking team, and I believe putting us on that match point scenario.
Indeed it is, and I feel like the adaptation, like, as much as it was a good choice, could have been too little too late. And it's like obviously putting these players onto those roles where they are able to have a little more freedom, a little more sort of maneuverability, and able to put that mechanical skill that they're really feeling on the day to good use. I think, yeah, it's great. The problem is obviously with it being a couple rounds sort of like of them suffering on that backline, the drive or the fire to fight and push into the competition is just not really as there as it was. And I think that there's a little bit too much of a slow burner even from these players that are quite far ahead, and I think possibly we could be needing a bit more of an explosive sort of tension from the defensive side. I think maybe they could probably, I don't know, the best way I can describe explosive is just swing stuff.
Yeah, swing it. No, I'd agree with you. Yeah, I'd agree with you. It's not so much that the attack team is going out and winning these gunfights. It's that the defense is going out and losing them. And it's been a bit slow. But now they're kind of in a do or die situation, right? You got to be perfect for 3 or this first game is done and over with. And it almost doesn't seem like you showed up.
I mean, exactly. That's pretty much on the nose of what I was trying to get at. But now we see Reclay just hovering around on the site. He's setting up these mute jammers still. Obviously, a lot of utility for him to have to set up because, well, he's one of the main site operators. So he's got to place down a lot of those reinforcements. But Shimizu is the man to open the round. 12th kill for him, equaling the top on the opposite side. And well, we're going to be seeing Jaeger drop off on towards the castle to see if they can take some engagements over towards Lounge. And, well, Sacred seems aware that there's a man going to be hovering around inside of Bar, but throws that drone and gives him a little bit of confirmation. The man behind Bar falls off and goes up the main stairs in order to get back towards the site. And, well, that is very good for the defensive side and also very bad for the attacking side because, well, IQ sacrificed that drone that she did have in pocket and now needs to wait for a teammate to actually give her that little bit of confirmation that nobody's going to be in and around that area. And one man that we do know is still on that lurk is going to be the Mozzie of Shimizu.
Yeah, definitely starting to really feel himself in, and you cast a curse him right off the board. You said he was there 1 minute, he was, and the next Gonzo Garbanzo, that's going to be the body bounce equalized here, and top frag off the board, which is feeling good for the attack team, especially on a match point round. So now all they got to do is settle in, get their breath, get their crosses up, and then start to work that execute. Opening up all these sight lines, going to start to get real aggressive here against this defense. It's 56 seconds left on the board, and it's looking a little bit dire here for the defense.
Oh, this breaching charge could, like, ruin Ace's breach. But instead, they're patient. They're not just sacrificing Ace's Selma's just yet, but could be sacrificing Ace's life if she decides to blow it up now. Does move it and decide to put it onto the hatch instead. Lowry finds the refrag on towards the frost behind the table, and well, Refrags are there for both sides. As now we're going to be seeing Mute get one more onto construction. The man jumps in through the window, gets shotgun down. Reclay finds an easy little double for his troubles. Almost gets the hit by a headshot with the SMG-11. And that's going to be another round for the side of the defense, bringing us even closer to that OT scoreline.
Yeah, holy whiff, Batman. That was a tough push in. The panic starts to set, the crossfire from across the room, and then you got to deal with that shotgun in your face. Not going to happen. Had to be perfect for 3, found 1. Got to do it 2 more times. And it's also, curious, right? We're not seeing any sort of timeouts, any sort of sit and talk about it, any momentum stopping breaks going on. Interesting call. I'm going to head back down to Church Arsenal to attempt it yet again. Is this pretty standard, putting the head holes on the right side for EU here? Because normally what we'll see on the side of NA, it's left for sure.
yeah. It's not standard at all. This is very much a gimmick strat. This is a slight change up in order to try and catch out these players. A bit of a drone whip for Zorro there. As he tries to get it, but ends up sacrificing more of the magazine than the drone. And we are going to be seeing, obviously, the setup for this K-Claw. But something I really want to touch on is the fact that up until this point, we've seen none of what I would call the funny picks. We've not seen a Ying. We've not seen a Lion. We've not seen a Doki. Like, for the attackers, they haven't really played these sort of, like, very aggressive fragging heavy operators, which is, like, really unheard of. But this round, literally the moment I was going to speak about it, we see a Ying. And this is a very, very fun sort of round to bring that Ying. You're not quite at the final hurdle for the defenders. So they don't believe it's going to be all or nothing. But you are going to be going for that all or nothing style around early in order to try and catch them in a false sense of security.
Yeah. So not going to be dedicating any Cade Claws towards the hatch play. It is going to be focused on Church Wall, and a second one still in pocket to try and aid that Church Wall hold. I mean, it's an interesting tactic, right? Where you kind of see the blend of contemporary and traditional siege. Well, it seems like this is really heavily laden on the side of the old world siege play. It's I don't know. It's been a strange round and a strange couple of calls by the defense, but it's working. 2 away. They're close to bringing it back. We'll see if they're able to pull something out here.
Speed as well. The ceiling gets opened above these defenders as they are trying to get themselves ready in order to deny this hatch. And, well, Kedclaw goes out and succeeds in doing so. No tuber out, so no way of denying this Maverick as of right now. As, well, another little interaction that his gadget has is it makes it harder for Maverick to actually breach what he's trying to breach. It makes him use twice as much gas from his canister. So that's going to be quite an interesting interaction if we do see it unfold. Well, Goyo nearly loses his life, speaking about getting unfolded. Ends up losing his life anyway to the man on the back lines, and well, so does that on the refrag. And well, with the refrags coming through, we are going to be seeing the Ying Candelas do the same. Ace going to be inside of dirt, the plant going down on Maverick, and Ying going to be stood around with a gun up on the far back side of Armory. As the Candela goes through, manages to flash out the Cade, and well, tries to take the engagement with the attacking Ace inside of dirt, loses it out just barely, as, well, that's going to be the match over, or not the match over, but the map over in favor of this attacking side. Very well played from their side.
Yeah, definitely. Very clinical, especially on that last round. And I love the pocket Ying, right? You talked about it. No funny one-off picks coming out until the time that it mattered. And of course, that was a great time to bring it in. I'm hoping we see a little bit of adaptation, right? Because if we see a lot of that similar gameplay or style and consulate, great freaking map to do it on. But if we don't see an adaptation, then this is going to be a best of 3 that only takes 2.
I mean, yeah, definitely. We're seeing 2 teams, 2 Titans go head to head right now. Obviously, 7-4 scoreline isn't exactly the most decisive thing in the book, but one thing that is decisive is we are going to be going to Consulate next, and I'm not sure if we're taking a break between maps. We are, okay, confirmation. We're going to be taking a break. That is decisive now, and I'm not very decisive apparently, so we're going to be going to that break just now, and well, we'll see you in the second map.
And also this round, I'm pretty much convinced that this will go into Cup. My classmate here.
What a wonderful compilation that we just saw from Mr. Lightsy himself, as he was the maker of that. And we are going to be seeing another one for this week. So potentially you could be hearing my voice again inside of that. And well, potentially you could be hearing my co-caster, Whiskey Glitter.
Heyo, let's
inside
go.
of that as well. And well, we're going to be moving into Consulate. Now, Consulate, one of those maps that is very much roam heavy. It's very much about that sort of like, can we apply pressure as defenders towards these sort of like further away floors from site? And one that you see quite frequently is that sort of like basement hold, even though they're playing a top floor site. Because you have like that Pulse, that Jaeger, those people that can really be quite optimal threats if I'm not just like dropping everything on my desk in that sort of area. But at the moment we are seeing that Ram and Jackal go offside. So they're going to be two operators that are like, again, for that vertical pressure, for that roam pressure. Solis goes off as well in order to sort of deny that sort of intel denial that is going to be brought from the defensive side. And well, Mozzie going to be the only real sort of like repick from that operator because of the way the gadgetry works. And Valkyrie, another one of the big 5 defenders that has kind of slipped under the radar as well. I'm pretty sure it was Bosmax that pointed it out to me as well. The big 5 defenders, one of the ones that was the biggest out of the big 5 was Valkyrie, like 5-6 seasons ago.
Mhm.
And she hasn't had any changes. She's still the same Valkyrie that she always was. Obviously, she had the shield swapped out for impact grenades and, well, a couple minor changes here and there, but she's only really gotten either stronger or even marginally from what she was. So it's like, realistically, she is just as good as she used to be. So I'm glad that we get to see her sort of dropped off onto that sort of ban phase, people sort of acknowledging the strength of the Valkyrie and taking into account the fact that they can take her off the board.
Yeah, well, you talk about it, the big 5, and you can only ban 2 of them. It leaves 3 on the board, and that I'm going to assume is going to be all 3 that are sitting here, right? Is that the Azami, the Fenrir, and the Mira as the other 3? Yeah, agree with you. We call them, I call them myself, the 5 golden ringers of defense. And yeah, we're going to see all 3 of them on the board here right now. And the Jackal, I think I just want to highlight that specific operator ban, because normally we would call that the cash ban, right? That's the ban that when you can't think of anybody else, you ban the Jackal. Well, here on Consulate, Jackal has some real ramifications because of that roam game that you're talking about and how heavy it is. You can just turn on the gadget, look to see if somebody's been in the room, and now you get that real estate for free. So having him off the board is huge, which I wonder if we're going to see that adaptation like the well, we do see Dokbi or the Lion being brought out that was so clearly missing in that last match.
Yeah, exactly. There's quite a few rush strategies that are sort of in play for Consulate for a lot of teams at the moment. So potentially we could be seeing a couple of those come into fruition throughout this matchup. But as of right now, it's going to be pretty slow, a relatively conservative admin take on the second floor. They're going to be trying to opt for, well, that sort of like horizontal sort of take rather than taking from below, playing the verticality. And obviously with the nade change and nades being such a, well, the vertical nades being such a big factor in the static positions of these defenders, because, well, naturally this map is played as a defender in a very static way. You play your positions and you don't really move all too much. So it's really cool that we get to see a bit more contention from these defenders on this map in particular, because of the positioning changes. And well, Warden trying to take a swing on towards the Ash that is going to be hovering around inside of that cafeteria room, but indeed moves down the stairs and just absolutely annihilates the Dekebi that's trying to make her way in through Visa. And now with the Ash coming in from behind, she manages to clean up that kill alongside Buck, and now they're going to be in a much better position than they were. Allison finds one with a C4, and we are going to be in this 2v2 situation. The Wamai still aggressive on the long desk. Yellow pings on him, and as he gets red pinged, he decides to move away. The mirror window going to be opened towards this side, and well, Buck going to be making his move all the way through long desk, potentially going to be trying to make a breach in the wall there to get the plant down safely without having to run in in the way of the mirror, but instead going to be opting for the default plant, as Clesery going to be 75% on that right now, does secure it, and well, the Wamai still going to be up and about, doesn't quite find the kill he's looking for, but the kill he was looking for is found by Allison, and now we're going to be in this 1v1.
Yeah, putting a bit on the bit of a showdown here. Buck holding down that vertical area on the stairs in some relative safety. Going to go for potentially that fake plant to draw him out, and there it is. The skeleton key going to clean it up nice and easy. So the attacker is going to find themselves one here on console.
Yeah, very well played from the attacking side. Actually managing to get that plant down, especially in a 2v2 situation. Getting that plant down means you only have one gun up, so you can't really play trades. And I mean, seeing the opportunity, taking advantage of it, and really being able to bring to light the fact that it is winnable, even in the most dire of situations, is going to be a really big sort of light at the end of the tunnel for these attackers, especially when you lose those 4 players in total throughout the round. You end up in that 1v1 situation, and you're really able to just take advantage of the mispositioning of the guy going for the defuse, and that's something that is it just kind of opens your eyes to the actual intelligence of these players when it comes down to the way they play.
Yeah, it's the thing that drew me to Siege in the first place. It might not be the most mechanically skilled, but you still have an opportunity to outsmart your opponent. I'm curious to see where those Fenrirs were at on the last map, because like, we didn't have anything in the default position unless it got taken out early. There was no Fenrirs to stop some or to hinder that default position. Ooh, that's going to be a huge kill as they take Buck off the board nice and early. The clutch of the last round. Vapex to be traded along with it, and that was the top frag of the last game, and a huge pick as the body count gets equalized.
Indeed it does. And that Keeper barricade inside of the connector hallway is one of those that really intrigues me, because I feel like you could definitely play that differently to the way they're playing it right now. There has to be a way to vault on that table somehow. Because if you can vault on that table, you can play such an awful angle, and I reckon you could probably make it even a one-way. But that'll be something for testing in a custom after this. I'll be completely real. But, well, the map advantage is going to be the side, well, it's going to be in favor of the side that is starting on the defense, I'm pretty sure. And, well, they lose one very early. I'm not too sure, actually. I need to actually verify this. But one player going down either way is going to be putting the attackers in much more of a favorable situation, bringing them to that 2 versus 4, and well, that means you've got 2 men for every single man that is going to be on the opposite side. And well, Azami has an answer to that, and that's a bullet, as she finds one for herself. But they clap back. Ash, moving into long desk, finds one for herself, and well, as the plant starts going down on the opposite side, the Ash has made her way in through onto lobby, and the mirror's getting flashed out, but she's managed to find 2 for her troubles, and this is where the tables could turn. If she's able to really find one more of these kills, then it becomes insanely winnable for the defenders, as, well, she's made her way into this mini office, onto the main breach, finds the kill onto Thermite, is going to be very low on HP, and potentially could be coming out of this round with a win. The breach going to play in favor of the Dekebi of Strobo as he's baiting out the audio cues for the diffuser. Takes the swing onto the corridor, but Strobo finds the kill. And now that 3K going to be all for naught as well. The round still goes in favor of the attackers.
Yeah, quite a bit of a switch around here, as it looks like the attacking team really coming alive on Consulate. And what in a strange way to do it, right? Definitely, I would, without having the numbers in front of me, I would hazard a guess that Consulate being defender-sided, even though it's so wide and open and the potential for quick real estate grab. But to see 2 decisive wins by the attack team on a second match that they didn't look so great on the first, I'm a little bit excited here. Like, is this the resurgence? Is this the comeback, the come alive to allow us to see a map number 3? Ooh.
It is the side of AGM that came out of Clubhouse with a win. So the side of AGM coming out 7-4 on Clubhouse and then immediately going down 2-0 on the next map, which, if I remember correctly, wasn't their pick, but still does kind of play into their favor when it comes down to this game as a whole. Obviously, starting out on the defense on a newer map is going to be a little harrowing, but I feel like starting out the attack on a newer map is probably going to be worse as well. They've managed to find their footing on the side of Cosmo, and we do see a blitz on side. They're going to be potentially trying to go for a bit of an aggressive play through servers here on towards this basement. And I think this is exactly what we're going to see. They're going to be opening up that wall on the far side, and they're going to be getting themselves in quick, deep, hard, fast in order to try and take these engagements against the defenders. And, well, as a man gets aggressive on the second floor, the blitz is going to have made himself very known, very, well, threatening as he's made his way down these Visa stairs. He's inside of server, knows the Oryx is going to be nearby, and doesn't want to take too much of an aggressive engagement in case he gets knocked down. And, well, Oryx being the shield counter does come into play as he manages to get the blitz alone, take him down, and, well, the player coming in from behind could potentially come in for a refrag, but it's not going to be very good losing out on your shield up this early.
Yeah, that was a huge play. If Oryx doesn't see him coming up or hear him coming up just a few seconds sooner, then that play goes in an entirely different direction. And what a player to come across, the Oryx of all people, who should be potentially on the roam game, caught in the basement, there to take that engagement, and now we sit equalized up in a 4-4 scenario. Ooh, this is exciting. Okay, so we've got Buck getting active up top. Shotgun is going to take Zarks off the board as they start to push inside. And now the defense, the shotgun going to find 2. It's the pre-fire through the wall, not able to find anything. Shoddy going to be taking another peek around the corner, not going to find anything. Is the siege timing going to work out in favor of Buck, who now sit to a 4v2 with 1:10 left on the board.
That was so close. Mozzie taking the swing on towards the corridor, towards Visa, almost spots out the Buck as he does fumble the rotate a little bit, but is now going to be left in this 1 versus 3 situation. Potentially could be in for it now as Vapex is the one to find the kill. And, well, that's the first round going the way of the defenders in this match so far. So we are going to be seeing a 2-1 scoreline in favor of these attackers, and, well, going to be looking to try and take it even further. They do not want this 4-2 split.
Yeah, no kidding. If I'm the attacking team, I'm feeling good, right? I've got my quota already hit as far as the standard scoreline goes. So anything after this is going to be absolute icing on the cake. 2-1 in favor of the attackers is the round. The first round rotate is going to be done, and we're going to see a bit of that turf site play here. Split. Hello.
Hello, G2. Welcome back. This is a site that G2 heavily favored because realistically, no one knew how to play it before. And now we're in a position where the map's been reworked and no one knows how to play it now. So we're seeing the same situation where people have just kind of taken those strategies on Consulate from the G2 playbook, and they're just putting them into this match. And it's so beautiful to see that obviously a pro team, yes, but they can influence teams across other platforms.
Oh, let's be
And-
real. Most of us get our strats from the G2 playbook, right? The Dynasty,
Yeah.
the Destiny, and here we're seeing it again. Dude, this is exciting. Let's freaking go.
And I mean, it's like I said about the 20-second meta. Now, the difference with this site is it's very, very aggressive. And it's also very basement oriented. So more than likely, we're going to be seeing a bit of pressure up towards the middle floor. But we're also going to be seeing the main sort of push with the diffuser going in towards the basement. And, well, as they do have quite a lot of that garage control, they are going to be just seeing if they can get a bit of footing even further forward than they have been so far. And, well, Buck has opened himself up a hole in order to be able to get himself through. And, well, as the rotate comes through from the defender, we do see a TK on the attacking side, which is unfortunate for them, but they do secure the kill onto the Echo. So that's a lot of information off the board, especially dealing with one of those yokais. They have equalized the man count on Shimizu, and Shimizu has found one more for his troubles in order to make it even better for them. Pulse, the last man standing, and he's in on the flank, gets caught out by Replay, and that's going to be a round for the attackers once again.
Yeah, here's the problem, right? They picked a site that could be potentially very defensive favored if you run the right setup. But I challenge that the right ops were not brought, right? If you're going to be running that split site, you got to have a way to stop to stop the push in, right? So get a castle, open up the verticality yourself over the site, and maybe have a little bit more dedicated to the basement push, which you knew was coming, right?
Well, the castle was a staple pick in the G2 strat book, but
Absolutely.
another one that was a staple pick that we did not see in that hold was Oryx, because you have those two hatches between the sites that you can just leave permanently open, and they don't really cause too much of an issue. You've got the one that's over in the corridor, and then you've got the one that goes up towards admin in the top floor. So you've got those two site hatches that Oryx can very easily play. And you can play the Oryx either on the top floor, and I mean, you don't even need Oryx for this one in particular, but if the top hatch is open, you can play that man in admin, and then you can drop him down into the site if the mid-floor site is uncontested, or vice versa, you can play the Oryx on the bottom floor with the corridor sort of castle barricaded off in order for him to be able to safely make a rotation up into the first floor site.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with you 100%. A couple of missed opportunities on the side of the defense there, and they pay for it as they lose that. And now Attack finds themselves over the quota on what you need for a standard split, taking that 3, putting this defense a bit on the back foot.
Indeed it does, but Lowry going to be trying to make a difference as he's over towards this printer side. He has been spotted on a drone, but could have tried to still go for an engagement. Instead, decides to drop off as well. Pulse, watching for the rappel up onto the printer window, is going to be over on that side, but decides not to try and go for the kill on towards the ace and just falls off of that angle himself. And, well, speaking of kills, Larry almost ends up being a victim as the Ash is able to see him but isn't able to find the shots, as he could have very well lost his life there. And Pulse underneath is going to be trying to go for that C4. He does see 2 players right now. He hasn't thrown the C4 just yet. Wants to potentially go for 2, but instead opts to go for the 1. And the 1 is the more important pick. Obviously, the ace charge is still in hand on side, and they have been used, but dealing with the Ash that was so formidable holding on to that corridor and is also 6 and 4 is going to be a much bigger deal than dealing with that ace.
Jeez,
unless he does things like that.
Now finds themselves in a 4v2, Naj. It's a minute left, and it's a bit scary here for this defense as they're got a plant going down yet again, back in that same default position. The defense just not finding a way to stop the plant up on 2F. I mean, we think we've seen it 3 times now that this would be, something. You would do something for that corner. Maybe move around the mirrors, maybe put some traps, something to try to stop that protect the president.
It was 3 times that we saw that top floor hold, and it was also 3 times that we saw Allison in a clutch situation. Every single time, twice in a 1 versus 4, and once in a 1 versus 1. And it's so stupidly scary. I'm pretty sure it was 3 times anyway. It might have been twice. Either way, every single time was a clutch for Allison, and it just did not go their way. And I think that's where you've really got to consider your options, because obviously playing the man on Visa stairs isn't really working out for you, especially considering the man on Visa stairs doesn't need to be there. You've got the man over towards the opposite side on vending with the shield, and that should be a much safer position than that Visa stairs hold, because realistically with the Visa stairs hold, you should theoretically have someone trying to play around that Visa office in order to try and apply a bit of pressure towards the lower floor, but unable to do so, unable to deny the main wall, and unable to keep your players alive or have any necessary rotations in order to get yourself out of that situation.
Okay, a little bit of aggression here, trying to get a bit of a spawn peek potentially. Mozzie does run out, not going to able to find anything. Yeah, I'd like to see an Azami played in that Visa hallway, you know, to really set some trench warfare in and make them dig them out. First kill going to be Finka off the board. No health. This case, Southern going to find the dome piece. Puts body balance in favor of the defense here, so they're trying to find themselves on a reverse standard split.
Oh, we might be seeing the same engagement again. It's going to be the Oryx versus the Blitz, as Shimizu has made his way up those stairs onto the second floor. And Oryx, the shield counter himself, once again able to find that kill onto Blitz. Blitz, just not worth it right now, as we do see the Mute once again getting aggressive on that corridor. And in this 3v5 situation, it just looks dire.
Yeah, agreed. It's all starting to fall apart for the attacking team, but not really a huge deal. They did their job and got the got their kill or got their scoreline already set. So anything outside of what they had was freaking cake. Defense looking good. Still got 1:41 on the board. Enough time for the attackers to find a bit of a foothold.
Indeed, as well. Replay makes his way up towards that second floor, sees the mirror, and soils himself a little bit as he does drop back into that rotating to keep himself safe. And, well, a lot of aggression coming out of these players on the defense right now. Speaking of which, Suther taking a swing on the corridor, finds one, but isn't able to find the second, as these players are just taking as many swings as they can. The Mute manages to find one for himself, might be able to find one more as he takes the swing, unable to connect the shot as the man goes around the corner, but SMG-11 comes out and, well, bullets go in. That's going to be the round for the defenders once again. Is that a 5-1 half?
I think that is. What a change up from what we saw on map number 1.
Oh, 4-2, sorry. 4-2. There we go.
Right. That's what we meant.
Yeah, it's a 4-2 half, and now we're going to be changing over to the opposite side. And realistically, it looks like Cosma is more ready to play this map than the opposite side. And if that's truly the case, this is where we'll see the difference. Because I think that on the defense, especially with the grenade change, the top floor should be so stupidly defender-sided. And they're just opting to play it without the mirror too, which is something that isn't really default. So I think that their sort of mindset towards it, they've probably had a bit more sort of work put into actually the strategic side and more performance-based side of this map. And, well, it was their map pick, so it would make sense.
Yeah. You know what I find fun about Consulate is, like, in NA, at least in the T4 through, like, T2 scene, we don't see actually 2F played hardly at all. Because there's so many ways to attack it, right? So we see basement as a primary site, and then it's Tersh site all the way, both for the split site and piano with full map extensions. And I would love to see that kind of setup here. Not going to be the case. We are going to see a 2F, and it is going to be a bit of the standard as far as the op picks goes, but I do like the Malusi call to really try to slow down what was an aggressive attack team on the last map.
Well, as much as a lot of players don't agree with me, I hands down believe that Malusi is still one of the stronger operators in the game. Like, potentially one of the strongest. But that's simply because she's a 1-speed, she has that armor, and I mean, when you're ADS, everyone's a 1-speed. You all move at the same speed when you're ADSing. But obviously you make a bit more noise. When it comes down to Malusi as a whole, she has that MP5 as a gun of choice. She has impact. She has a gadget that's so good at just slowing down these defenses. She's just a very good utility sort of operator. One of those operators that you can bring to the table that doesn't really like fall out of the defense, doesn't really create any issues for holding or anything like that. Obviously, one big counter for Malusi is that Brava, because you can slow down the defenders, and if you've got pretty picky sort of locations to be placing them, well, she can be an issue. But I just think she is genuinely insanely strong, and she's just not really utilized nearly enough.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. It's that rank stacked versus comp mentality, right? Nobody wants a 1-speed in ranked, but could be absolutely vital to have a tank in the comp scene. Agreed with you 100%.
Something I did want to say as well is I think something that's being recently discovered is, well, somehow Mute not finding that kill, but something that's being recently discovered is, as well as it having so many angles of attack, it also has so many ways to defend. Like, look at this lineup right now. We see the Trap Operator of Frost, we see the Malusi, and it genuinely could have been successful depending on the sort of positioning and way these players decide to orient themselves with their gadgetry. But the attackers are going to come out with, well, the first round win in this half. So brings us a little bit closer to that equalization in favor of the side of AGM, but still currently on the back foot.
Yeah. So is that currently 4 rounds played on 2F and 4 attacker wins on 2F?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
It's either 3 or 4, but either way, we have a 100% win rate on attack. We have a 100% win rate on attack for that site.
And we're going to run it back. Second verse, same as the first. Going to bring a little bit of some fun ops. I like the Fenrir call. I think that's going to be especially strong, especially combo moving with the Warden and the Mira, right? And the Mira, the rework. You know, I thought we were going to see a bigger difference in being able to get back up, but falling into a Mira trap just about still the death sentence that it was, because you have those people playing close. Hey, you talked about her 6-pick onto the board for a Bravo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and fact check myself because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in every G2 game where Consulate was played, unless he was banned, Fenrir was played 100% of the time.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And that's something that needs to really be acknowledged in this matchup, because we haven't seen nearly enough Fenrir play. Because Fenrir is so stupidly powerful as an operator, especially on console, as I said, because of the way the mechanics work, because of the way the aim style works, the aim theory, whatever you want to call it, because of the way mechanics work on a controller. It's so much harder to deal with Fenrir than it is Azami, whereas on PC, it's the opposite. And specifically talking about console right now and console Siege, because that's what we're going to be watching, it's incredibly unnatural to see Fenrir played this little when he's on the board. And, well, the attackers are just absolutely flooring it right now. They've made their way all the way through into the cafeteria side of admin, and they do know this player is going to be tucked in the corner on the vending machine. The drone goes through, and they're going to be happy with that one as they secure themselves a kill. And speaking of securing themselves a kill, a beautiful little pick from Zoro on the Fenrir there from the spiral stairs, but the knock to come in from the opposite side is able to secure a quick and easy refrag. in order to give another round for the attack on that top floor. Still a 100% win rate on the top floor in this match for the attackers.
Yeah, and here's a good switch up. They're not gonna ego check that a third time as we get our scoreline tied up. They're gonna take it down to the basement, and we are gonna see a bit of that slowdown that we were talking about that we used to see a lot on console. It's gonna be the castle coming out, and I think the castle is a great call because it's really gonna be able to direct where this attacking team is gonna be able to push from, or expend some utility to keep that same push alive. Probably gonna see that secret push. That secret wall push that is so fun, but I imagine we'll probably see some resources dedicated to stopping that. At least I'm hoping so, because that's a prevalent push.
I'm going to be completely honest. I genuinely think the yellow door, specifically just the yellow door into the basement site, needs a rework for the simple reason that Castle literally makes that door unpushable. Unless you have a way of dealing with the castle barricade without actually putting yourself in the way of the castle barricade, it's impossible to deal with for some operators, and you're not actually able to get through that door because of the one-way angle you have underneath. Because you can drop off the ledge and you can sit there crouched and just see perfectly underneath it and just shoot toes. It's so annoying, and I think that it isn't competitively fair or viable, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Castle's not going to be banned anytime soon, so just get yourself in that position, place it down, and shoot some toes.
You know what's crazy? In the major scene in R16, Castle has got one of the worst win rates when being brought out and utilized, even though his hold is like incredibly effective. And on the opposite side of it, Rook got the major switch up in rounds that he's brought. He's got one of the highest win rates.
I know, bro. I know. It's crazy. I was actually looking into the Rook statistics the other day, because Rook went from being one of the weakest operators to being one of the highest operators on the win delta. Almost a beautiful kill from the opposite side, but a beautiful angle from the Wamai is going to be the one to thwart it. Standing on the box over towards that garage side is going to have a bit of a high peak onto the far door. And well, with the castle barricade dealt with, that gives them an even longer angle as they've managed to make their way into yellow pillar. The TCSG tears apart Ash, as then they're able to find one more inside of the garage. Allison still in and still prevalent as he finds one. And on the opposite side, his teammate, though, is going to be there for the pinch as well. Allison's trying to come in through this office door, isn't able to find it yet, takes a lot of damage. Castle takes the swing, and Larry is still alive on that double kill, going to be moving towards the double door. And, well, the TCSG sings true, rips apart the man's abdomen, and we are going to be seeing a 1 versus 1, and Reclay finds the final kill with a beautiful little TCSG montage right there.
Yowza, boy, looking good, man. You headed up to that 2F, got a little bit of the mental chalk going on, took it down to basement, said, you know what, we have got this. And boy, that sniper shoddy just being absolutely devastating. And even funnier, right, we saw it being not really utilized in the hands of the top fragger, but the comfort pick definitely reigning supreme in that clutch. What a clip.
One of my favorite guns in the game to use. It's so much fun, and realistically, because I have that much more support main playstyle, it's just so nice and comfortable. And when it comes down to these support mains in this game, I genuinely believe they're going to be on the same wavelength. And well, Reclay, unable to find too much with it in the previous match, is going to be able to absolutely tear apart 3 players in this map. So we're going to be seeing a bit more of that from him, hopefully, in the future of this map. But something we do have to consider is the fact that we're going to be once again going to this top floor site.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. My mind is blown. It's been devastating both times that you went up there. You're on a potential for a match point scenario. And this just makes me question, do you not have a deep site pool here for Consulate? Do you not have a tertiary strat set up and ready to go? Or were you not thinking that you were going to see any sort of first floor play at all? If you don't have it set up, that means you were thinking already you were going to lose basement or 2F. Before you even got started into it.
I mean, I do believe that they should have this tertiary set up, but I also believe that they don't. They don't want to really go anywhere else. They only want to go for this top and bottom floor, and well, if they do win out this round, they are going to be forced to go somewhere else. And more than likely, I imagine, an inexperienced team would choose that first floor standard site, whereas a more experienced team and a team that has actually sort of looked into these strategies and played them more so than the opposite side would go for the split site. Well, Flashbang goes through, doesn't flash the Warden because, well, Hackerman goggles are going to be in the way, and they do get the shield dealt with though.
It's going to be body bounce tipped in favor of the defense here, and you can hear that Fenrir gadget going off. Vapex to find another kill, but Flores does go down, and that's the top frag, who is potentially not going to be recoverable. Oh, no, he is. Okay, so Vapex going to pick him up, takes us into a true 3v2, and Thatcher going to be off the boards. Frost going to find the kill onto Larry. It's going to be Vapex active again onto the corner, downs the Warden for the triple kill, looking to get the quad kill, and it's going to be a defense as he cleans up the double and takes us to a match point scenario.
Indeed, as a beautiful little 2K from Zorro, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. Well done. But we are going to be seeing them actually get a defensive win. What's that, like 5 or 6 times that was played?
Yeah.
If it was a 5, I think it's 5 that site was played, and 1 defensive win. That's a 20% win rate for the defense.
That's almost as bad as the kitchen dining on Oregon.
That's insane. But either way, we are going to be seeing the opposite side of the attack ready to try and contest against a site they haven't yet seen. It is going to be that fully first floor site that I was talking about before. A lesser experienced team is still able to, play this site and play it well and come out of this round with a win. But as I said, a more experienced side, a side that believes in their communication a little more, would probably go for that split site because of how good it can be and how sort of vertical it can be, because you don't really play any sort of horizontal roams.
Yeah, yep, agreed. And we are going to see that first floor site. And to take that first floor, it's going to be the Mira on the board, which I like to call. Look at this. Look at this aggression already starting to push in. The attacking team wanting to get active quickly and get up top. IQ brought out so they can help suss out some of the many cameras that are around this map and maybe not quite so familiar. There's a C4 that rings out, takes a bunch of damage onto IQ, but not going to get the call. Jaeger going to get his life ripped away as his dome piece gets taken. The trade comes out. P10 going to find K Souther off the board, now taking us into an evened up body count. And folks, that was just in the first minute of gameplay. It's being active. Ash going to start to push potentially from that secret and down into the bottom. Come up from below.
The walls have opened up, and well, these footholds could potentially pay dividends for the Frost here, as well, you've got the Mozzie on the opposite side to cover the door. Now, drone going to be coming through in towards that projector room. Probably isn't going to be able to see the Mozzie from the door, even though there is an angle over from that side, but is probably going to be able to catch out this Frost. And, well, if you're able to catch out the Frost, that might indicate a player trying to take the swing from that side. And if they do, which we do see Allison in that position, they could get very quickly dealt with by this Mozzie. And Mozzie easily finds the kill. Just easy pickings for him, as Now we're going to be seeing another engagement on the opposite side, down on this first floor. Mirror is the one to find the kill. Reclay on an absolute tear right now. Once again, bringing himself to that double-digit kill count. Throws the C4 up. Is able to find the kill. It's fantastic from this man right now, as we're going to be seeing this 1 versus 4 situation for Sacred. Sacred has to try and win this out. If he loses this 1v4, it's the map over and we go to map 3. And there it is. Shimizu finding the kill is going to take us to Oregon.
Crazy. You know what? And a 7-4 on the scoreline too. It was a pretty dominant performance. I am so excited because, you know, normally I am not a fan of Oregon, right? I'm all for taking it out of the comp pool, adding in something else. But Oregon is the great equalizer, right? That's the reason that we see it so often, is because it can be attacker-sided, it can be defender-sided, and as we've seen, 1 apiece on the maps. This, oh man,
Yeah,
this is gonna be one for the books.
this is going to be fantastic. Well, when it comes down to Oregon, the reason Oregon can be so flip-floppy in comparison to other maps is entirely because, well, the map comes down pretty much entirely to how you use your utility. Because it's all about, are you able to use your utility effectively? If not, are you able to change the push you're doing? If not, then are you able to find the frags that you're looking for? And they're like the 3 steps to Oregon that you always kind of see. And I really think that, well, with it being equalized, why don't we take it to the great equalizer? We're going to be going to a short break, and, well, we'll see you on the flip side.
Heyo.
3 and alternate round. I'm pretty much convinced that this will go into God. My classmate here.
And we're back! Woo! Sorry. I'm joined once again by Whiskey Glitter, and we're going to be jumping straight into Oregon. As we
Oh, geez,
go through this little map video, we're going to be seeing what we can expect from the operator bands. I almost said map bands, operator bands. Again, it's very standard for Oregon. More than likely, we could see that pressure from like the Hibana being taken out, but more than likely, we're just going to be seeing very standard bans. I imagine something that's intel denial first or entry denial, which entry denial, that's what that ban's for. They want to take out that entry. They take out the Ying, and Ying's one of them like really disruptive operators on this map. She's one of them that like really can just like turn the tide of a game very, very easily. And I think that can be an extremely big threat to a strong defensive side. And there's the intel denial that we are going to be seeing. Is going to be the knock taken off the board. And, well, 2 very standard bans right now. Two operators I expect to see. More than likely, if we're going to be going off operators I expect to see, we're going to be seeing Solace and Fenrir ban next.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a Valkyrie, maybe a Mirror. But I imagine it would be either Fenrir or Mirror. Never mind. I'm being absolutely debated. Solace has to be the next one, I think. Solace or Mirror are like the 2 big ones for this.
I'd say Solus. It has to be, right? I mean, she's been perma-banned on all the other. Whoa!
Oh, whoa!
That's
whoa,
huge.
Whoa. Let's wait a minute. Let's take a step back. We have Mirror, Valkyrie, and Solace.
That is a formidable lineup for the defense, and Solus being banned out every single map for good reason, right? Her gadget can see all the way across the map on large maps, but when you get to Oregon, and you have and we're not even going to see Solus coming out on the first thing.
Trust me, we
but,
will.
Yeah, but when you have a map like Oregon where the run out is so prevalent from all over the first floor, and the intel from where that push is going to be coming from, where those gadgets are set up from, it's just bonkers to be able to have Solus on Oregon, and even crazier to not see her played right out the gate.
If you look at like the 3 big defenders in question, which are Fenrir, Solace, and Azami, the thing about it is obviously, as I touched on before, Azami is more powerful on PC than she is on console.
Mhm.
Then you've got Fenrir, who's more powerful on console than he is on PC, but still both very powerful operators in their own right. But then you've got Solace, who is extremely powerful for that Intel game on both platforms.
Mhm.
And that's where, like, you have a major threat. Like, you have teams like BDS, for example, who will never ever ban Solace unless it particularly hinders a site that they're gonna play. And if Solace is available, they will play her 90% of the time.
Yeah.
As much as they can without hindering their own gameplay. A beautiful little kill on the entry onto the man that was entering through that top floor. Shimizu falls to the gun of Vapex, and well, Suther going to be making his way over towards these back stairs. Doesn't want to roam too heavy, considering he is a 1-speed. Speaking of heavy. So, going to be wanting to try and make their way back to those tower stairs and play around those Banshee gadgets.
Yeah, something that's kind of interesting that with this Mira play here, seeing that Mira on the freezer, that is also more, I believe, of an EU thing, as we saw that in Vivid, Voltage, Amnesty, and of course ESA. Normally in the NA, we see that Mira put onto that closet area, kind of do a little bit more laundry hold. Because it leaves you susceptible, that Mira leaves you susceptible from the push down from laundry. You get a Capital, fire it out, and it's over. But still sit with the body balance here with a minute 27 left on the board. They got that flank watch set up as the gridlock track's going out, and it's going to be Thatcher taking the first look from laundry.
Indeed, sees the mirror window, but the man behind it doesn't see him, as the barricade is now open, so they are aware, but he doesn't quite know of the player that is going to be going for it. Now, something that a lot of people, and I discovered this from playing with people in ranked, a lot of people don't realize is you can see Havana's outlines when she's aiming that in. So that's been caught out by them, and they are just dealing with that as it comes. That's why it was being pre-aimed.
Yeah.
And well, the defenders have just been able to absolutely clean up everything thrown their way. And speaking of throwing their way, there goes the impact that cleans up Buck. And as we saw in the kill cam, we are going to be seeing even more of that in our next few rounds, more than likely.
Yeah, Malusi with the I choose you on Buck for the dramatic finish in the freezer.
You see a Valkyrie.
Yep. It's a 2F, man. You got to have that Valkyrie. That in the game of intel and inches, intel is key to gain those inches. And, of course, the C4 to boot. Couple of them going to be on the board potentially. Oh, no. Actually, yeah, Warden going to utilize that deployable shield instead. He opts for the C4 in the hands of Mute. Still going to bring out the Aruni for that slowdown as well. I like the Aruni call on 2F, right? Really, really try to slow him down, especially with some operators or with the positions that you can push in so quickly. Big window, white, kids, that kind of thing.
Something that does amaze me is, A, we've seen no Tubby, and 2, we also have 2 of the 3 defensive MPXs on the side right now.
Let's go.
There's only 3 on defense. Now, I say only 3, that's a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
But there's 3 MPXs on defense, and the only one that we haven't seen is the new operator that we haven't seen played once.
Not one time.
Match.
Not banned out, not one time. Come on. Maybe we see it if we go down to the second time we see basement, right? Stop some of that verticality. That's what we're hoping for. Fingers crossed.
Well, this was the first map that I did see Tubby played in a competitive setting, and it was on that basement site. It was particularly to deny the stage half. And well, with Cade not being banned and neither Tubby, they are going to be able to play that same strategy that we saw. I can't remember. I think it might have been Minions or something play previously. But as Larry falls to the vertical pressure from the Buck below inside of that garage, a smoke's going to go out into the corridor. And that means that Twitch has a little bit more defense when it comes to rappelling into this window. And the Arena Gate is repaired by Wamai, but he is still standing in the line of fire for this Twitch, but does manage to get himself safe. And, well, now we have 3 people on the balcony trying to deal with him.
Yeah, and in a great position, although he's going to back up and reposition to get a little bit of hold onto that games room as they're pushing into Master, getting that real estate for free. Body bounce still tipped in favor of the attackers here, but it's a minute and 30 left on the board, so the time going to start to tick down against this attacking team as they still got to deal with the flank. Oh, Valkyrie takes the shots, not going to find anything. Oh, my Lord. Almost pays for her hubris of coming into the attic there.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of mirror in these 2 teams, but there goes Valkyrie finding one. Is going to be able to have a little bit of a scuffle with another if she isn't careful, and potentially might get caught out from the head holes further back. Ash going to be breaking that barbed wire, seeing if she can get her way up onto the stairs and potentially get caught out. In the meantime, there goes the bullet. Vapex finds the kill, and now we see a man inside that armory corridor is crouched, so not able to be seen by the Valkyrie as the barricade isn't fully open. And, well, this could go very south for Strobo as he tries to get aggressive. The man on Hobo is the one to find the kill, and, well, Buck's now in the closet and isn't going to escape as he's locked in by the Wamai of Sutha.
Yeah. Great presence of mind by Vapex holding that attic, right? He's taken shots from that back area, which is meant to, of course, to try to distract him, try to get the kill as that push up the staircase happens. But just able to keep a calm, cool, collected head, not swing around, try to take that engagement, focus on getting the kill. And I just got to say, right, the Valkyrie in the hands of Vapex, who has been so prominent on both of the last 2 maps, that's a formidable thought. Right, we got to find a way, win conditions for the attack team. They've got to take Vapex off the board, and they got to do it early.
I mean, indeed they do. They've done so well on this defensive side right now that you can't really imagine it going any other way with how dominant they have been. And I mean, if this gunplay keeps up, they already have 3Ks on 2 of their players. They have. That's a beautiful vault cam, by the way. Like,
I like it. Yeah.
I'm gonna start experimenting in tower with vault cams now because of you. But either way, I've now got 2 strats that I need to try.
Yeah.
In customs, this is fantastic. But either way, we're gonna be looking at the side of the defense. Looks so strong. You have 4 players with perfect scorelines right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Not able to find a death on a single one of them. And here's the thing. Went back to that kitchen meeting area as we talked about it at the major. It was 100% win rate for the attackers on kitchen dining. But they're still going to set the extension up into there with an extension up top as well. So really kind of spaced out in the defense. They're really going to be holding on to this verticality with everything they got. Oh,
Vapex and Larry just arguing over whether a barricade needs to go up on that top floor, but the Vector is the one to find the kill. Looks like Sutha going to be finding one, but losing himself in the process, and that's not going to be very good for this Mozzie of Sacred, who's going to be hovering around that corridor. And, well, you've taken 2 of the bigger fraggers off the board for the side of AGM, and, well, it's now a 4v3 situation, a situation where Cosma actually, for the first time in this game, have the advantage. And, well, the barricade does remain inside of Trophy, but it's now placed from the opposite side, as Wamai is going to be up there just to try and indicate that little bit of pressure. And all of these attackers making their way in through the showers, trying to get themselves set up inside of kitchen meeting, but Shimizu going to be the man standing around on the top floor.
Yeah, now put body bounce in favor of the attacking team as they start to make their way into kitchen dining. Kind of an unusual approach here by the attacking team as far as it goes. Yes, we normally see the Talon Shield. Yes, we normally see the Thermite, but generally accepted, you're going to see that split take from attack or from the meeting side because it gives you a little bit there. And that's exactly what I was just about to talk about. Is that because that's the more defensible site, right? You're able to hold the flank a little bit better. And now in this 4v2, it's all resting on the shoulders of Allison and the Mozzie. Mozzie, speaking of, getting a little active from the back. If he could get in close, he's going to find himself a plant stop. They hear him coming up, and there it is. That's the good night. And they do get the kill, and it's the plant going down yet again.
He's sticking out. He's sticking out. Why are you running at the shield?
Jeez.
He was sticking out of the side of the shield.
He just got a kill doing that same thing, right? Not running to the shield, taking it on that angle, and instead opted for a different approach and paid the price. To be one in favor of the attack team.
Well, with that going south for the defenders, that's going to be their first round loss. And I think every game we've seen a 2-1 split, and the team that has been in favor has rotated each time. And another thing is the team that has been in favor has always won the game so far.
Bodes well
So,
in the favor of the defense here.
In the first 3 rounds, we've seen 2-1 in favor of AGM, and they came out with a map 1 win. And then we went on to map 2. We saw Cosma come out with 2-1 in the first 3 rounds, and they ended up with a map win. And now we're on map 3 with, well, the side of AGM currently on 2-1 after the first 3 rounds. So I'm not saying that these teams are predictable.
Feels like you're saying that.
If we end up with a 7-4 scoreline in favor of the side of AGM, I'm not going to say I was surprised. Because every match has gone that way so far. Or both of the maps have gone that way so far.
You know, you could have held on to that information and just said that it was going to be a 7-4 score line in favor of AGM and just been a psychic. You know, you missed opportunity there.
I could have just been, like, literally Albert Einstein calculating several different equations in my head at once.
Launches the Twitch drone all the way across the map. It's going to be the flashes ringing in against the Malusi. Now she backs down to take this engagement again, resting on the laurels of her traps. Still sitting 5 apiece and got double flank watch coming out on the side of the attack team. Both the Nomad and the Gridlock being brought out here. And you know what? This is a great map for that because the flank is so freaking prevalent.
Indeed. As we see a lot of this flank watch come out for the attacking side. They've got that Gridlock alongside the Nomad on side, and they are going to be trying to make sure they're cutting off all of these flanks, making sure that no one's able to get surprise aggression on towards that tower side alongside any of these staircases that are going to be very prevalent in this matchup. And well, Nomad's made her way to positioned outside of blue and is going to be wanting to try and take some engagements of her own. Now, with the Mute going in for the swing alongside Soother. Soother's the one to find the kill, but that's going to be another one for the man count of the defensive side. The beeper going off on the tower stairs is going to alert the defenders of Strobo's position, but he's going to be rotating himself over towards the hatch. And, well, now both players going to be in that position. They've managed to find one. Vapex is the man to fall, but Sooth are going to be the man of the match at the moment so far on that 5-1. And, well, Allison not far behind, a player that's had little to, well, very minimal impact in the previous 2 maps, other than the near win on a 1 versus 4. But we're going to be seeing Reclay make his way down these laundry stairs as well. The man that went to Freezer is going to be losing his life to that shotgun. And, well, that same shotgun going to be coming in from behind, but he's going to be using the SMG. Warden, Sacred, finds the final kill of the round, and, well, now it's going to be 3-1 in favor of these defenders.
Yeah, looking pretty good on the side of the defense, right? Very clinical, very, very welcome to my TED Talk performance here. As they, did they lose a single member on that last round? Was that a flawless round?
No, it wasn't a flawless round. It was 4 versus 1. Vapex was the man to fall.
Oh, Vapex, that's right. Fell to the DMR. That's right. I forgot about that. But still very, very clinical. Very, this is how you play basement, covered the vertical, covered the shallow roam, covered on the flank. And now we head back up to 2F, where I imagine it's probably going to be a lot of the same thing that we just watched on the previous. So potential for the 4-2 split here is the Tersh site might be the overall decider here for the attack team. Got to get active. They got to pull something else out. I think, or they're going to be battling for it in OT.
What is that?
What?
Wait a minute. Oh my god. Okay.
Apex has got the Valve cams. like
Bro.
Pay attention, chat.
I need to talk to this man. The FBI wants to know his location. I have a bounty. Jesus Christ. That is a phenomenal vault cam.
Big fan, yeah, big fan. And it's going to be a Rooney here setting up that verticality as the round is getting started. You see,
Oh, sorry, I'm still in shock. I was watching the replay on the stream. Zoro finds a kill on Delari inside of Armory, and well, that's going to open it up for the attackers right now, as they do have the Amaru. Potentially going to be trying to go in through that kitchen hatch inside of the bedroom. But no one knows really, as of yet. Could also be going for the rush plant on the big window with a bit of pressure towards the opposite side, but it's going to be in through the tower, and well, Shimizu going to be really making himself known over that side. Vapex running a marathon right now through highway, just seeing if he can get himself away and back to site. Going to be coming up the armory stairs.
Yep, body bounce tipped in favor of the attacking team. C4 going to ring out, not claim anything there, so we still sit on that 4-3 scoreline. It's Vapex down on this main lobby, thinking that he's going to catch somebody potentially rotating around. It's still got a minute 47, so it seems like that could be likely. There's the swing. Ace going to find that kill onto the Jaeger as we now find ourselves into a 4v2.
And well, Allison, now's the time to prove that you have that clutch potential that you were missing just only a few rounds ago. Is going to be filtering his way in through Trophy, potentially going to be up against an engagement with Ace now. Gets that kill, turns around, tries to find one more onto the man that runs into Trophy, and Habana with a drop shot is able to find that for herself. But gets the man on the flank, and well, that's going to give even more of an advantage. Well, I say even more. It's gonna bring the attackers closer to an advantage. And realistically, they want that 3-3 split because on the defense, it's kind of default to have a 3-3 split. If it goes to 4-2 in favor of the defenders and it swaps sides, it's a comeback. And that's not what you want.
Agreed. And now they don't have to. Now they don't have to take that tertiary site play either. Going to run it back on 2F, the site they're familiar with. And going to bring a little bit of a difference here, right? We're going to see the Goyo coming out. That's the vector, but not only that's the area denial, especially for that late round, which is, you know, essentially what you're almost guaranteed to see on a 2F, right? It's that 20-second meta that you were talking about. Well, it's not any more prevalent than on this 2F site because it takes a second for you to get all of your attackers into place to get ready for that 3, 2, 1 execute scenario. I like the Goyo call here to try and keep the score advantage going into the half.
And indeed, and now we're going to be seeing a bit of a default sort of similar hold that we saw previous. And something that has been pointed out to me is, well, by chat, is the fact that Cosma are bringing 4 hard breach. They have the 4 hard breach charges on Buck and Amaru, and then also have the Ace and the Habana.
No, they don't have the Buck.
Well, the Buck's now in the bin. So, there goes that plan, and you only have, what, 6 bits of hard breach left? So, you gotta be pretty careful. Not including the X-Kairos. The X-Kairos I've kind of just lumped into one. Otherwise, there'd be about 30 pieces of hard breach left, and that doesn't sound right. So, you have 3 different avenues of attack for hard breach, which is a lot more than you really need for a top floor Oregon push. And I mean, realistically, with the amount of hard breach they have, it's kind of amazing that they've only in this round decided to apply a drastic amount of pressure to the attic. Obviously, the Amaru got in there in that last round, but was much later than they are this time around. Obviously, Buck being the first man to fall means that the attackers are going to be down a player. So with the Amaru being in so early, so quick, potentially could be a big difference maker for the team. I'm not sure if there's a rotate to her right, but if there is, I would be a lot more worried about it than the Amaru currently is. Right now, going to be just swinging around, seeing what she can find from the attic door. And well, Aruni's quite aware, but two of the defenders fall. Larry and Sacred both go back to back because Sooth are going to be making his way up the wide stairs, wants to try and find an angle. The plan on the attic door is going to be where they're deciding to put it. And well, the swings come out. They find another one, a triple kill for Reclayers. We're going to be seeing the Goyo left alone in this 1 versus 4 situation. Could it be the one where they win? Vapex, beautiful little double as he now gets into the 1 versus 2. Needs to find the Habana first. Is going to be trying to take the swing past onto the attic door, but looking over towards the head holes is the man, and Zorro is the one to find that kill.
Yeah, kind of a bit of a loss there. As soon as you cover up that rotate into kids, you've given up all that real estate into attic for free, opened up head holes, and then it was just a too little too late scenarios. They were able to plant, hold the cross, and seal the deal. That was a strange one. You don't generally see that rotate covered up.
Yeah, definitely. So it was pretty interesting of a plant and hold from these attackers. You had so many different angles and locations that they could actually be able to hold from. And well, I think that answers your question. Yes, they probably did need that many hard reach. Sorry. I'm just gonna keep harping on this for as long as possible. Either way. We see a bit more of a sort of a default hold from the defenders this time on the basement. So we're going to be seeing that Warden with a shotgun and Mute with a shotgun, both going to be on the bunker and also on the freezer stairs respectively. And this is one that I keep indicating to people could be a really big factor. Playing this Warden in freezer with the shotgun in hand, the shotgun's incredible. Like the shotguns, especially in the current seasons, are absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, I could definitely eat my words if things do decide to change or things do get nerfed. But playing that Warden inside a freezer means he can't be flashed out as easy. And obviously, it's going to be a bit unfortunate that, yes, he can't be flashed out nearly as easy, but they're going to be bringing along the Blitz this time over towards bunker. And well, in goes the sprint, and 2 are found by the mirror, as now we see a situation where it's going to be a 3v3, 2 players fall on both sides very, very immediately, and well, the Amaru is going to be all the way down in pillar, ready to take the engagements, walk straight past the mirror that's going to be sitting on the window, but the Cade's there to find the kill. And now we're in a position where these players are just going to have to try and take these swings. These attackers, they've tried a rush, it's failed, and it's going to be the Yana left alone to go to tower stairs to take the diffuser and try and take the engagement against a close range shotgun.
Yeah, a failed attempt at a quick execute there. The timing was just completely off. You got to time that with the Amaru coming down that back stairs. And not fall to the mirror, right? Should have seen some smokes or some sort of flashes, something to distract, right? And you were right. It was the Warden in the freezer to take that first shotgun kill in the back and then ends it off on the Ayana there. Man, that could have been such a good play, but just absolutely got devastated right at the beginning.
I'd like to point out something that was noticed by my good friend Bozo in chat, that I noticed but didn't really have room to talk about in that situation. I don't quite know who it was, but it could have been Sacred on the Yana, but somebody tried to break the mirror, or like you know the thing with drilling projectiles now on mirror windows.
Oh yeah,
someone tried to do that with a Gon 6, and I don't know who it was. But it happened, and we're just gonna move on like it didn't.
Oh, amazing!
Because whoever did that needs to go back to school. Because unfortunately, you didn't read the patch notes well enough.
Oh, too funny. Too funny. Hey, you gotta try it out. Who knows? What if it worked? You know, the guy would have been a hero.
A weird little siege bug for no reason.
Oh, amazing.
We've got Aina owning up to his own mistakes. He tried to destroy a mirror window with a Flores drone today. Something, a bit of random trivia for you. The little ledge on the edge of a mirror, I've said this before on stream, I think, but the little ledge on the edge of a mirror, if you put a buggy on it, you can actually just smash the mirror entirely. It just eats the mirror.
No kidding.
Yeah. Like it entirely eats it. Like there's no mirror there anymore. It's just head holes.
I love that. I want to see it.
It just eats the window. You can check this in customs. I don't know why it works, but it does. And in order to do it, you've got to be like pressed against the mirror anyway with a buggy in hand. So it's kind of stupid, but it works.
Oh!
Speaking of stupid, Suther gets himself in on a stupid peek and manages to find the kill on Shimizu. And now we see this tower side look ever so uncontested by these defenders. Strobo is going to be close and positioned on that armory wall, but on that attic wall, sorry. But Flashbang goes in and he's going to be losing his life.
Yeah, that's body bounce tipped in favor of the attacking team. Scott, you killing me today. Vapex to find that dome piece is now put into a 4v2, and it's all kind of resting on the shoulders, not kind of Legion and Mute. As the flashes start to ring in, Legion going to try to take this first engagement in the attic area, but could be susceptible from the push from behind here. He's got the pixel. Let's see if it pays off. He finds one. It's going to be the swing in, though, as the second one is there to take that engagement. Ooh, a little bit of damage, and he is going to find the Legion off the board, now into a 3v1, but it is the C4 in hands. Not going to find anything there as the engagement starting to ring out. Gridlock going to take the push in, and it's going to be the shotgun not to find it. Vapex going to clean that one up.
That was so chaotic and so weird of a push that I honestly couldn't describe it to you. That is a push that realistically shouldn't work, because all they really did was open the wall and walk at them, and well, it did. So it's one of those situations where clearly, like, the sort of utility usage, simple utility things like flashbangs, things like those track stingers, things like just generic sort of breaches, are able to be utilized so much more by these, well, by the side of AGM than they are by the side of Cosmo. Cosmo were much closer to losing out in a lot of these situations and looked like a little more shaky in these engagements.
Yep, I'd agree with you. 4-4 as we hit a back and forth here, which is kind of what you'd like to see in a best of three on a decider map, right? Each team kind of firing on all cylinders, kind of feeling the other team out, making the adaptations and changing up the strats. And speaking of, we're going to have the Maverick back on the board. I think that was good for that silent entry into Addict, and you talked about it. It's the new pro strat, right? Win conditions, walk into sight, click heads, and that's exactly what happened on the last one.
Yeah, there's several different ways to play the game right now, and well, specifically for competitive. And you've got things like the 20-second meta, which very much revolve around your utility usage. You've got a very aggressive, more gunplay style, which tends to be king at the moment because there's no real way to sort of slow it down other than, well, sacrificing some of your shield operator or C4 operators or things like that for maybe a Legion and a Lucy, that sort of thing, in order to try and thwart that. But you've also got, obviously, well, utility and just not utility, playing the sort of like stupid angles with like smokes and things like that, like sort of like the outs, well, similar to the gunplay style, but more like outside of the building, playing these angles, things like Kali, things like Glaz, things like Ying that can still work, and yeah, it's like gimmicks at the moment that are really kind of taking it. You've got those two styles, which are the gunplay and the gimmicks, that are really just taking the cake. And when I say gimmicks, I mean things that are kind of one-off, as you said, that are difficult to deal with if you're not prepared for them. And that's where you see things like Maverick, because Maverick, even though he was such a common operator like only a few seasons ago, he's become such oh my god, sacred. He's become an operator that you don't see anywhere near as much. And well, with him being one of those operators, and an operator that can be so disruptive and so good at the job he wants to try and do, you're going to see him probably a lot more. And well, speaking of a lot more, it looks like we've still got a lot more to find in this game. And well, if Sacred isn't able to win out this 1 versus 3, which, yes, isn't likely considering he has to ace to win. If he wins this out, he's ruined my predicted scoreline. But it's a triple kill as he tries to take the cross past the head holes that have been kind of turned into a rotate. And it's the Frost to find the final kill. So my scoreline that I predicted as the 7-4 in favor of the side of AGM is going to be all for naught, and potentially could be the opposite way around.
Would be interesting.
But this is also the map that I predicted at the very beginning to be the one to go to overtime if none of them do.
Yeah.
So I think we are very likely in for an overtime here.
Yeah, and honestly, I hope so. You know, my favorite match is one that ends in the 1v1 showdown in that double overtime scenario. You know what's something I'd like to point out, though, that's kind of interesting, and something that I didn't really notice before you said it on the last cast that I was casting with you, is that on PC you'll see a movement after the gunshot where they do kind of like a 360-ish kind of to readjust your mouse. And
yeah,
you said
sort of to keep yourself warm. It's to keep your aim like fluid and like keep yourself ready for a gunfight.
No, and you said it was funny to see it on controller players. Well, here's what I've been noticing since you have pointed that out. There has been at least like 6 or 7 deaths directly attributed to that movement on this controller side. This game, like, and that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like the little micro adjustments to your aim, and like especially when it comes down to doing these sort of 360s, it's more to like keep your arm ready for those sort of long form movements and flicks. And when it comes down to console, it's not something that really benefits anybody in any way. So you see, well, because it's like a joystick, it's an analog stick, so you don't have like the sort of fluid movement that you do on the PC with a mouse in your hand. And well, speaking of fluid movement, a crouch walker goes through the middle of the top floor and just takes out the jackal that's going to be looking for him on the roam.
Here it is, Vapex doing what Vapex does, trying to be the difference maker, and it's going to be Larry to find a kill with the F2 as the dome piece rings out. There we go, finds one for Vapex.
He just shot like half a magazine into that guy's dead body. I don't understand what happened there.
Gotta make sure he's
the
dead.
guy and just made sure, like, yeah.
Ubisoft's newest operator is also a zombie, so you got to kill him twice.
True. I can't wait for that. I can't wait. That's gonna be awful. Like
yeah,
the
when
moment
Siege hits that place.
Yeah, that once that operator, like if they release an operator that can just come back from the dead, I'm done. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going back. I'm gonna go like back on my little revenge tour and go like back to Overwatch, then back to TF2.
Body bounce sits in favor of the attacking team here as we find ourselves in a 4v3 with the last minute starting to tick away. And it's Allison on a low health scenario, and Mute wanting to be active with that shotgun again. We talked about it. Oh, man, unfortunately, not going to be able to use that shotgun as Vapex going to find another kill. Now putting them into that double-digit kill arena yet again. C4 to go out, not claim anything. Naj, it's 49 seconds left, and it's looking good for this attack team.
There's only 40 seconds left remaining right now as Twitch does fall to the mirror inside of Freezer. The mirror is open on the Freezer wall, though, and that's going to give match point for these attackers as they are able to secure themselves one more round, bringing them even closer to this victory. Oh, no, not match point for the attackers. I thought they were 5-4. It's the opposite way. It's equalized. It's 5-5. I'm stupid. Either way, it's so close now. And this is where it becomes scary for both of these sides. They both are going to be fighting tooth and nail. And with a disconnect, we're a little unsure as to whether we are going to be seeing this man return. But I think we are. I don't think it's going to be a rehost yet.
And that's tough too, because what does that do? That can potentially slow down any momentum that's been being built up on either side, right? It could
Yeah.
be that one team is barely hanging on to this evened up scoreline, and a disconnect that could be the difference maker. Still gives a
As
chance,
well.
to sit and
Oh, sorry.
talk about it. Oh no, go ahead. I was just
No.
saying, sit and talk about it and kind of get ready
Yeah.
for this last match point push.
Definitely so. I was going to just say, like, as well, something I never realized as a viewer before actually getting into casting, it's the fact that a lot of the sort of momentum that a lot of these players have comes down to mindset. And mindset comes down a lot to the adrenaline in the game. So when you're actually having that constant movement and that constant flow of taking engagements, taking gunfights, being in a position where you're like hyped because you just went around, or like you're trying to bring the sort of mood back up for your team because you just lost or whatever, that kind of just immediately gets nullified the moment you pause, because there's a lot of teams, and this is something a lot of people also don't realize about teams, a lot of teams that will end up in this situation where they've got a pause and they just shut up.
Mhm.
There's no talking. You don't, there's obviously the better teams, I say the better teams, the teams that understand a little more than maybe some others do, will constantly have that flow of chatter to try and keep things like upbeat and try and make sure that they're constantly sort of like bouncing back and forth these strats that they want to try, and or like even what they can change to win the next one. That's what you'll see from the more experienced teams, and you'll see that carry on after the pause is over. Whereas there are some teams that will just kind of fall off. And this is what I'm afraid to see from the attacking side right now. They've had so much momentum over the last few rounds and they need to maintain it. That's a good start. They've found a pick onto Shimizu.
Yeah, and to that point, speaking of the better teams that will have that communication, you can kind of tell in the use of timeouts if they're going to be a team that's talking during that disconnect or that rehost. And just a fun little fact, right? We've been keeping track on the Siege Double Shot, where I do some of my NA casting on how often a team that takes a timeout wins the next round afterwards, and it's like sits at like an 80% win rate after timeout for the team that took it. So that communication that you're talking about, huge, especially when you get into the late rounds, especially when it's all on the line.
Well, we are at the moment just seeing them set themselves up for this basement attack, and well, we're going to be seeing a K-Claw coined by BDS that isn't able to quite deny the hatch, but almost gets there. And the reason why it isn't able to deny the hatch is because it was placed wrong. Not because it was thatchered, because realistically, in order for it to reach the hatch, you need to place it on that little wooden beam, and it needs to be vertical, close to the door. Otherwise, it doesn't quite reach. There is spots on the wooden beam that you can place it on that also don't reach. So you have to be in the perfect position, and you have to get it right first time for the cave trick. So a bit unfortunate that A, it was denied, and B, the K-Claw didn't actually go to the location they actually wanted it to. But we are going to be seeing Thatcher get quite aggressive inside of Freezer. It looked like a concussion went off, but it was probably just a flashbang and looked a little weird from the replay. But speaking of replay, Reclay finds two for himself, and we're going to be seeing a much better situation for these defenders. It's a 2 versus 2. Can they come out of this with a round win? Almost a beautiful pre-fire from Suther, as he knows the man's going to be on pillar, but doesn't quite know where the Cade's positioned. Knows now as he takes the swing, and they find the kill. Allison going to be the one to find it, as now the Mirror, the last man standing. Strobo potentially could be coming out of this with a round win, as he finds the second. And that's going to be the round over match point for the defenders now.
Yows. Wow, what a freaking round. I can't believe they came out with that. That Vector is just so devastating in the hands of the right person. And some pillar play going to find the double to end it. Man, that's a big round. One more to go. Blue team has got to be a blue team. AGM has got to be perfect for for one round to take us into that predicted overtime scenario.
That's incredible. I'm genuinely amazed by the lack of awareness, it seemed like, from the attackers in order to be able to deal with that mirror's position. It looked like Thatcher was aware, and it did look like he saw the mirror after he took the swing onto the opposite side. And it's kind of insane that we see them pretty much not even check the angle until after the Hibana's jumped her and died.
Yep, and that's a perfect basement play, right? Perfect bunker war play there. And now we take it up to 2F for the potential round enter. Oh, me too. And it's cheeky. It'll catch you off guard. I love the frost mat when coupled with the thorn, especially in such a tight area like that. Not going to see it here, however, but I do love the combo plays that you now have to kind of put in place for those mirrors or for those frost traps that you can't necessarily get to when they go off. More of a deterrent and a slowdown and some health taken off the board because it's going to be a hard kill to capitalize on.
There's something crazy about that exact strat that you were just talking about that one of my other analysis friends was talking about literally the other day.
Oh, I do. Yes, you know one.
So naturally, this is a bit of human psychology for you. Naturally, if something's dangerous, people will move away from it. So what you do is you place that frost mat inside of closet and you put it in the opposite top corner from the frost mat. So it only deals like 5 damage if they're tucked in the corner on the frost mat because they're prone, right? Mm-hmm. But it's enough damage to kill them while they're in the frost mat. So you put it in the opposite corner because they'll hear it go off, they'll look at it, and they'll instinctively, because of human psychology and natural reaction, press S.
I love that.
And just back straight into the frost mat. And that was something really cool that I heard. So that's something that people can try and write down and maybe use, depending on if it even works. But that's something that I heard, and I haven't yet tried, but really want to.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect plan and makes 100% sense. Big W's, Naj always bringing some really excellent insight into the game of Siege, and I always walk away from our cast going, yeah, I'm going to go try that. That's one of them. I'm going to try that.
I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you enjoy my little analyses of the way the game's played and the things people could change, but speaking of things people could change, this Warden's position needs to change sometime soon because he's going to get pushed. And, well, the drone sat behind him is going to be a bit of an announcement to him, a bit of an alarm clock as the player comes down the stairs and finds that kill. Doesn't find that kill, actually. He comes up white stairs and finds a different kill. I was watching, I was seeing Ash in the kill feed thinking it was Yana. But Ash still comes down the stairs, finds the kill anyway, and we're going to be seeing another 2v2 situation. Another 2v2 situation where Strobo's alive, and another 2v2 situation where the support is still standing for the attackers. And potentially could fall first.
Oh, look at that. Got himself inside. The cross is set up. Oh, man. Not going to be able to find it. They do stick it, and they're going to take Ace immediately off the board, and Vapex goes down. And, folks, that is it. It was a failed attempt at the execute, and it is going to be a win for the defense. And, man, what a crazy clutch.
That's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed by the way that was played by these defenders, and I mean, just being able to pick your targets is so crucial. Like, especially in a situation like that, the mute going for the player on white stairs because they know it's going to be close quarters, and they were able to find it, and then also going for the man just on the default plant. Incredible. Like the mute being able to find both of those kills. Yeah, it's insane. That was very well played. For Dipsy in chat that said what happened. Well, Pleasary hit a 180 on the white stairs pretty much. And that was like easy cleanup for him, and Frost got the defuse, Strobo got the defuse. So Strobo coming in clutch in the previous round, and then Pleasary coming in clutch in the next one. So very, very good work by Cosma in order to secure themselves a spot in the knockouts bracket. And yeah, they're going to be able to actually go through into the knockouts, and they're going to be confirmed against one of the 3 teams that don't yet have a dance partner.
Yeah, what a phenomenal round. And I don't know if it was exactly the way that we thought that was going to go, right? We talked about the splits, we talked about the pattern that was formed, and you had predicted a potential overtime, and this was as close as it freaking gets, even to the point of a 2vx post plant scenario. Man, just an exciting game of Siege all the way around.
I mean, yeah, I'm very impressed with the way both of these teams played. We are going to have a quick little look at a couple things before we end this off. First thing I want to quickly touch on is the knockouts bracket that we do have. You get to see these teams that don't yet have a dance partner to see potentially who they could be coming up against, just to refresh everyone's minds. Votum isn't actually Votum anymore. It is NIP, if I remember correctly, and Flawless 7 is now Votum's, is now under Votum's organization. So just keep that in mind. So it's going to be NIP, LDL, and MDF that don't yet have a game ready for them, and potentially could be facing up against Cosma. So we'll have to see how they sort of organize that in the next few days, because, well, we won't really know who's going to be playing against who until, as far as I'm aware, after these 3 matches are played, which is after Thursday. My producer just said yes, so I'm assuming that that's the case. Either way, yeah, do you have anything to say about the knockouts bracket?
No, I mean, one of the things that I love about knockouts bracket is it's like that. It's got that playoff scenario magic feel to it, right? It's kind of the all or nothing. It's the do or die. So this is where you see that potential for like the trickery, the one-off plays that you were talking about, because you got to bring something different to the table to get the victory. And this is where it happens. This is the power of knockouts. Is that every single gunfight turns into a I have to win this, or we're taking that proverbial bus ride home. And so, I mean, honestly, I'm super excited to watch it, and it's probably one of my favorite phases.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's the part of the tournament where the magic really happens and where the fire gets lit. And that is where we're going to be seeing these teams really push the boundaries of their strategies. And I really like this part of the tournament because it gets a bit desperate for some teams. And that's where it gets interesting, because you start to see the natural sort of impulses of players. And you can start to really pick at where their strengths and weaknesses are. And it's something I've very much been taking advantage of with Eagle Empire. I've been putting them in stressful situations in order to try and give them that criticism. And, well, I've been analyzing stressful situations just like that one. I have a couple of analyses that I still need to do, which are probably going to be done on Wednesday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But the final thing I'd like to quickly touch on is, before we end off the stream, Lightsey, we've seen it before every match so far, has made a beautiful little montage recap of the previous week and is going to be doing the same for all of us over the next few weeks of the tournament or whatever else we do decide to play, and potentially could be doing it throughout the future seasons, depending on whether we have someone to give him a hand, whether he's able to do it on his own or whatever else. Obviously, ESA is always looking for staff and production. If you're interested, please do make Rednax aware. I'm sure he's going to be very, very keen on getting more people in, and it's going to be a phenomenal thing to actually have a lot of fun with. And yeah, I don't know if our production wants to play it one last time and send us to the Shadow Realm, but that'll be all from us for tonight. Shout out to Lightsey. If you want to see more of Whiskey, go to
The Siege Double Shot. Find us on Twitch. You can find us on Twitter. We're out there. Give us your hot takes, your cold takes, any takes. It was an absolute pleasure, Naj. Every single time I cast with you, it's an absolute blast. Happy to be part of the ESA. And yeah, that compilation, that montage, chef's kiss. Looking forward
it's
to
absolutely
more of those.
beautiful. I do perfectly agree. If you want to see more of me, go to twitch.tv/Naj. I don't really post on Twitter, but you can follow me on Twitter as well, because I tend to just beef people for no reason. At Naji _, which is NHAJIE _. So We'll see you on the flippity.
There you go.